Make money with OpenClaw in 30 days. Patrick Andrei. Copyright 2025 Patrick Andrei. Published by Andrei Media. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photocopying, recording, or other electronic or mechanical methods, without the prior written permission of the publisher, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. Disclaimer. The information provided in this book is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as financial, legal, or professional advice. The author and publisher make no guarantees regarding the results or earnings that may be achieved by following the strategies outlined in this book. Individual results will vary based on effort, market conditions, and other factors beyond the control of the author and publisher. Any references to income figures or financial outcomes are examples only and should not be interpreted as promises or guarantees of earnings. Trading and investing involve substantial risk of loss and are not suitable for every individual. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Always consult a licensed financial advisor before making any investment decisions. OpenClaw is an independent open-source project and is not affiliated with, endorsed by, or connected to the author or Andrei Media. All trademarks, product names, and company names mentioned in this book are the property of their respective owners and are used for identification purposes only. First edition, 2025. Contents. Make money with OpenClaw in 30 days. Introduction: Why OpenClaw is the biggest money-making opportunity in AI right now. 6. Part 1. The Foundation. 1. Chapter 1, OpenClaw Basics, What it is, what it does, and why it matters for your wallet. A plain English breakdown of how OpenClaw works, what makes it different, and why it is a business tool. 12. 2. Chapter 2, Getting Set Up for Profit, Installing and Configuring OpenClaw the Right Way, the fastest path from zero to fully operational, optimized for business use and minimal startup cost. 20. 3. Chapter 3, The 5 OpenClaw Business Models that actually work, a side-by-side comparison of 5 proven income paths so you can choose the one that fits your life. 28. Part 2. The Money. 4. Chapter 4, Freelancing with OpenClaw, Selling AI Services for Immediate Cash Flow, How to Land Your First Paying Client Within 2 Weeks Using Platforms, Pricing Strategies, and AI-Powered Delivery. 36. 5. Chapter 5, Building an OpenClaw Automation Agency, Recurring Revenue and Scale. Turn one-time projects into monthly income by selling automated systems that businesses pay for on repeat. 45. 6. Chapter 6, Building and Selling AI-Powered Websites with OpenClaw. Use OpenClaw to create intelligent websites for clients or yourself, even with zero coding experience. 55. Part 3. The Edge. 7. Chapter 7, AI-Assisted Trading and Market Analysis with OpenClaw. An honest look at how OpenClaw enhances trading decisions through data analysis, sentiment tracking, and backtesting. 64. 8. Chapter 8, Creating and Selling Digital Products Powered by OpenClaw. Build templates, guides, toolkits, and courses once, then sell them over and over for semi-passive income. 73. Part 4. The Growth. 9. Chapter 9, Marketing Your OpenClaw Business, Getting Clients and Customers Fast. Social Media, Content Marketing, Direct Outreach, and Paid Ads tailored specifically for AI-powered businesses. 83. 10. Chapter 10, Scaling to Serious Income, From Side Hustle to 6 Figures. When to Raise Prices, How to Hire Smart, and How to Stack Income Streams into Life-Changing Revenue. 92. Conclusion, Your 30-Day OpenClaw Money-Making Action Plan. 101. Introduction, Why OpenClaw is the biggest money-making opportunity in AI right now. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. I want to talk to you for a second. Not as an author selling a book. Not as some guru on a stage telling you what your life should look like. Just as someone who understands what it feels like to know, deep in your gut, that you are capable of more than your current situation reflects. Maybe you are reading this on your phone during a break at a job that does not pay you what you are worth. Maybe you are sitting in a dorm room wondering how you are going to build a life that actually excites you when everything feels so expensive and so out of reach. Maybe you are at your kitchen table at midnight, scrolling through the internet looking for something real, something that actually works, because you have already tried a few things and they did not pan out the way the YouTube ads promised they would. Maybe you have a family counting on you and the pressure of that responsibility keeps you up at night because you know you need to find a way to bring in more money but you do not know where to start. Whatever your situation is, I want you to know something before you read another word of this book. I wrote this for you. Not for tech experts. Not for people who already have money. Not for entrepreneurs with fancy degrees and startup funding. For you. The person who is starting with nothing but hunger and the willingness to work. That is enough. That is more than enough. And by the time you finish this book, you are going to believe that too. Here is what I am not going to do. I am not going to insult your intelligence with hype. I am not going to tell you that you are going to be a millionaire in 30 days or that money is going to fall from the sky if you just manifest hard enough. The internet is drowning in that nonsense, and if you are anything like me, you are exhausted by it. What I am going to do is show you something real. A tool that exists right now, that is free to use, that almost nobody understands yet, and that has the genuine potential to change your financial life if you are willing to put in the work to learn it and apply it. That tool is called OpenClaw, and the fact that you are holding this book means you are about to get a head start that most people will not have for months or even years. What is OpenClaw and why should you care? OpenClaw is an open-source AI agent platform. If those words mean nothing to you right now, that is completely fine. By the end of Chapter 1, you will understand exactly what that means in plain English. But here is what you need to know right now in this introduction. OpenClaw is not just another chatbot like ChatGPT. It is a system that can actually do things. It can browse the internet, write content, analyze data, automate tasks, build workflows, interact with other software, and execute complex multi-step projects on its own. It is like hiring a digital employee who works around the clock, never takes a day off, and costs you almost nothing to run. And because it is open source, meaning free and fully customizable, you own it completely. No monthly subscriptions eating into your profits. No corporation that can change the rules on you overnight. No limitations on what you can build with it. You are in control. Now here is the part that matters for your wallet. Businesses everywhere are desperate for AI solutions. They know AI is important. They know they need to adopt it or get left behind. But most of them have no idea how to actually implement it. They do not know what tools to use, how to set them up, or how to turn AI into something that saves them time and makes them money. That gap between what businesses need and what they know how to do is your opportunity. It is a massive, wide-open gap, and the people who learn how to fill it right now are going to be the ones who profit the most. That is exactly what this book teaches you to do. Not in theory. Not in vague concepts. In specific, step-by-step detail that you can follow starting today, even if you have never used an AI tool in your life, even if you have no technical background, even if you are starting with $0 in your bank account. Why the timing is everything. There is a window of opportunity that exists right now with OpenClaw that will not last forever. The tool is growing fast in popularity among developers and tech-savvy users, but the mainstream market, the small business owners, the freelancers, the entrepreneurs, the everyday people looking for a way to make money, has barely scratched the surface. Most people have never heard of OpenClaw. Most people who have heard of it do not know what it can do. And almost nobody knows how to use it. Specifically to make money. That is the window. That is your advantage. You are early. Being early to a genuine opportunity is one of the most powerful positions you can be in, because it means you are building skills, reputation, and client relationships before the competition shows up. By the time the rest of the world catches on to what OpenClaw can do, you will already be established. You will already have clients. You will already have income streams. You will already be the expert in the room while everyone else is just getting started. I have seen this pattern play out over and over again in the technology space. The people who learned to build websites in the early 2000s before everyone had one built agencies that still generate millions today. The people who figured out social media marketing before it became mainstream built careers and companies that are thriving right now. The people who started creating content on YouTube before it was saturated became household names. The pattern is always the same. A powerful new tool or platform emerges. A small group of people take it seriously early on. They learn it, they apply it, they build with it. And by the time the masses arrive, that small group is already miles ahead. OpenClaw is that tool right now. And this book is your ticket into that small group. What this book is going to do for you. This book is built around one promise: by the time you finish reading and start executing, you will have everything you need to make real money with OpenClaw within 30 days. Not, maybe. Not, if things go well. If you follow the plan, put in the work, and take consistent action, you will generate income. The amount depends on which business model you choose, how much time you invest, and how aggressively you execute. But the path is laid out for you in detail that leaves nothing to guesswork. In Chapter 1, you will understand exactly what OpenClaw is, how it works, and why it is fundamentally different from any other AI tool on the market. In Chapter 2, you will get it installed and configured for business use in under an hour, spending almost nothing. In Chapter 3, you will discover the 5 proven business models that are making people money with OpenClaw right now, and you will choose the one that fits your situation. Chapters 4 through 8 are deep dive playbooks for each business model: freelancing for immediate cash flow, building an automation agency for recurring monthly income, creating and selling AI-powered websites, using OpenClaw for trading and market analysis, and building digital products that generate semi-passive income. Chapter 9 gives you a complete marketing playbook for getting clients and customers regardless of which model you choose. And Chapter 10 shows you how to scale everything into a 6-figure business by raising prices, hiring smart, and stacking multiple income streams together. This is not a book full of ideas. It is a book full of instructions. There is a massive difference. Ideas make you feel inspired. Instructions make you money. Every chapter in this book ends with you knowing exactly what to do next, and the conclusion ties everything together into a 30-day action plan that tells you what to do on day 1, day 2, day 3, and every day after that until you have a functioning, revenue-generating business. Who this book is for. This book is for you if you want to make money but do not know where to start. It is for you if you have heard about AI and know it is a big deal but have no idea how to actually profit from it. It is for you if you are tired of side hustle ideas that sound good on paper but never actually produce income. It is for you if you are a student, a stay-at-home parent, a 9-to-5 worker, a freelancer looking for a better edge, or literally anyone who has access to a computer and an internet connection and wants to build something financially meaningful. You do not need coding skills. You do not need a business degree. You do not need startup capital. You need this book, a laptop, and the discipline to follow through. That is the complete list. This book is also for you if you have already started exploring AI tools and want to go deeper. If you have used ChatGPT and thought, this is cool, but how do I actually make money with AI, this is the answer to that question. OpenClaw takes you beyond chatting with a bot and into building real systems, real services, and real products that people pay real money for. It is the bridge between playing with AI and profiting from AI, and this book is the map that gets you across. If you have already read the OpenClaw Bible, you know the technical side of the platform inside and out. This book is the business companion to that technical foundation. It takes your knowledge of how OpenClaw works and shows you exactly how to turn that knowledge into income. The two books together give you a combination that very few people on the planet have right now: deep technical mastery of the most powerful open-source AI agent platform available, and a proven business strategy for monetizing it. That combination is your unfair advantage, and it is one that gets more valuable with every day that passes. I need you to understand one more thing before we start. This book only works if you do the work. I can give you the strategies, the frameworks, the step-by-step instructions, and the 30-day plan. But I cannot open your laptop for you. I cannot send your first proposal for you. I cannot push through the discomfort of putting yourself out there for the first time. That part is on you. And if you are reading this right now, if you made it this far into the introduction, I already know something about you. You are not the kind of person who gives up easily. You are not the kind of person who is satisfied with where things are. You are looking for a way forward, and you are willing to work for it. That tells me everything I need to know. You are exactly the kind of person this book was written for, and you are exactly the kind of person who is going to succeed with what you are about to learn. Turn the page. Chapter 1 starts now. And so does your future. Chapter 1, OpenClaw Basics, what it is, what it does, and why it matters for your wallet. The ones who learn the tools first are the ones who eat first. There is a moment in every major technology shift where a small group of people figure out how to make money before the rest of the world even understands what is happening. It happened with the internet in the late 90s, when a handful of people realized you could sell products online while everyone else was still arguing about whether email was a fad. It happened with social media in the early 2010s, when a few smart creators built audiences and turned followers into full-time income while the mainstream media was still calling Instagram a photo-sharing app for teenagers. It happened with Bitcoin, with Shopify, with YouTube, and with every single platform that eventually became a household name. The pattern is always the same. A powerful new tool shows up. Most people ignore it or play around with it for fun. A small percentage of people take it seriously, figure out how to turn it into income, and build something real before the competition floods in. That is exactly where we are right now with OpenClaw, and that is exactly why you are reading this book at the perfect time. OpenClaw is not just another AI chatbot. It is not a shinier version of ChatGPT with a different logo. It is something fundamentally different, and by the end of this chapter, you are going to understand exactly what it is, why it matters, and most importantly, why it has the potential to change your financial situation in ways that no other AI tool on the market can. You do not need a computer science degree to understand this. You do not need to know how to code. You do not even need to have used AI tools before. All you need is the willingness to pay attention for the next few pages, because what you learn here is the foundation that every single money-making strategy in this book is built on. Skip this chapter, and the rest of the book will not hit the same way. Read it carefully, and everything that follows will click into place like puzzle pieces. Before we get into the technical side, let me be straight with you about something. This book is not here to impress you with jargon or make you feel like AI is some mystical thing that only geniuses can use. This book is here to put money in your pocket. Every single thing I explain in this chapter exists for one reason, so you can understand the tool well enough to use it for profit. That is the lens we are looking through for the entire book. Not, how cool is this technology, but, how does this technology make me money? If that sounds good to you, keep reading. We have a lot of ground to cover. So what exactly is OpenClaw? At its core, OpenClaw is an open-source AI agent platform. Now, let me break that down in plain English because those words get thrown around a lot and most people have no idea what they actually mean. Open source means that the software is free. You do not have to pay a subscription to use it. You do not have to ask permission from some corporation. The code is publicly available, and anyone can download it, install it, and run it on their own computer or server. This is a massive deal, and I will explain why in a moment. AI agent means that OpenClaw does not just answer questions like a chatbot. It actually does things. It can browse the internet, write code, manage files, interact with other software, send messages, analyze data, and execute multi-step tasks on its own. Think of the difference between asking Someone for directions and hiring someone to actually drive you there. ChatGPT gives you directions. OpenClaw drives the car. The platform part means that OpenClaw is not just one tool. It is a system that you can customize, expand, and connect to other tools and services. You can plug in different AI models, add new capabilities, connect it to your email or your calendar or your trading platform, and build workflows that run automatically. It is like having a digital employee that you can train to do almost anything, and that employee works 24 hours a day, never complains, never calls in sick, and costs you almost nothing to run. That is the basic picture. OpenClaw is a free, customizable AI system that does not just talk to you but actually takes actions, completes tasks, and can be configured to work in almost any business context you can think of. Now, here is where it gets interesting for your wallet. Because OpenClaw is open source, you are not paying $10, $20, or $50 a month for a subscription like you would with most AI tools. Your main costs are the AI model usage, which can be as low as a few cents per task depending on how you set it up, and whatever server or computer you run it on. There are ways to run it on your own laptop for literally zero additional cost. There are ways to run it on cheap cloud servers for under $10 a month. And there are ways to optimize it so that you are spending pennies while your clients are paying you hundreds or even thousands of dollars for the output. That cost structure is one of the biggest reasons OpenClaw is such a powerful business tool. Your margins can be absolutely massive because your operating costs are almost nothing compared to people using paid platforms. The core features that put money in your pocket. OpenClaw has a lot of features, but I am not going to walk you through every single one of them. That is not what this book is for. If you want the full technical deep dive on every feature, every setting, and every configuration option, that is exactly what the OpenClaw Bible covers in detail. What I am going to do here is show you the features that directly translate into money-making opportunities. These are the capabilities that you are going to use over and over again as you build your OpenClaw business, and understanding them now will make every chapter that follows much easier to absorb. The first feature that matters is autonomous task execution. This means you can give OpenClaw a complex task, and it will break the task down into steps and execute those steps on its own without you holding its hand through every single action. You can tell it to research a topic, write a report, format it professionally, and save it to a specific folder, and it will handle the entire workflow. For a freelancer, this means you can deliver client work in a fraction of the time. For an agency owner, this means you can handle more clients without hiring more people. For a digital product creator, this means you can produce content and assets at a speed that would be physically impossible to do manually. The second feature is tool integration. OpenClaw can connect to external tools, APIs, websites, and services. This means it is not trapped inside a chat window like most AI tools. It can interact with the real world. It can pull data from websites, send emails, post on social media, interact with spreadsheets, and connect to platforms that your clients already use. This is the feature that turns OpenClaw from a smart assistant into a genuine business automation engine. When a client asks you to automate their lead follow-up process or their inventory tracking or their customer support responses, OpenClaw's tool integration is what makes it possible for you to actually deliver on that promise. The third feature is customization and memory. You can configure OpenClaw to remember context, follow specific instructions, and behave in ways that are tailored to a particular business need. This means you can set up an OpenClaw agent that specializes in writing real estate listings, and it will remember the tone, the format, and the specific requirements every single time. You can set up another agent that specializes in analyzing stock market data, and it will know exactly what indicators to look at and how to present the results. This level of customization is what allows you to create productized services, which we will get deep into in later chapters, that you can sell to clients as ready-made solutions. OpenClaw versus ChatGPT and every other AI tool out there. This is the question everyone asks, and it is a fair one. If ChatGPT exists, if Google Gemini exists, if all these other AI tools are out there, why should you bet your business on OpenClaw? The answer is not that OpenClaw is better in some abstract sense. The answer is that OpenClaw gives you something that none of those other tools give you, and that something is control. When you use ChatGPT, you are renting access to someone else's system. You pay a monthly subscription, you use the tool inside their interface, and you are limited to whatever features they decide to give you. You cannot customize it deeply. You cannot connect it to external tools in meaningful ways. You cannot run it on your own hardware. You cannot modify how it works under the hood. And most importantly, you are always at the mercy of their pricing, their policies, and their limitations. If OpenAI decides tomorrow to double the price of ChatGPT or remove a feature you depend on, there is nothing you can do about it. OpenClaw flips that entire dynamic. Because it is open source and self-hosted, you own the system. You control what AI models it uses, you control what it connects to, you control how it behaves, and you control what it costs you to run. That ownership is what makes it a business tool and not just a productivity hack. When you build a service for a client using OpenClaw, you are not reselling someone else's subscription. You are delivering a custom solution that runs on infrastructure you control, with margins that you set, using capabilities that you configured. That is a real business. That is something you can scale. That is something no one can take away from you by changing their terms of service. Let me give you a concrete example so this clicks. Imagine you are a freelancer and a local real estate agency asks you to build them an AI assistant that can answer questions about their property listings, schedule viewings, and send follow-up emails to potential buyers. If you try to do this with ChatGPT, you are immediately running into walls. You cannot connect it to their email system easily. You cannot give it access to their listing database. You cannot customize it to handle scheduling. You would need to duct tape together 5 different tools and pray it all works. With OpenClaw, you can build that entire system as one cohesive agent. You connect it to their data, configure it to handle the specific tasks they need, and deliver a polished solution that runs 24 hours a day. You charge them $1,500 to set it up and $200 a month to maintain it. Your actual cost to run it? Maybe $5 to $10 a month in server fees. That is the kind of margin that builds a real business, and that is why OpenClaw is in a category of its own. The mindset shift, from tech toy to money machine. Here is where most people get stuck, and I need you to hear this clearly before we move forward. The biggest obstacle between you and making real money with OpenClaw is not the technology. It is not the setup. It is not your lack of experience. It is your mindset. Most people who discover OpenClaw treat it like a toy. They install it, play around with it, make it do some cool tricks, maybe generate some text or automate some small personal task, and then they move on. They never make a single dollar from it. Not because the opportunity is not there, but because they never made the mental shift from, this is a cool thing I can use, to, this is a tool I can build a business with. That shift is everything. From this point forward, I need you to stop thinking about OpenClaw as a piece of software and start thinking about it as your business partner. Every feature it has is a service you can sell. Every capability it offers is a problem you can solve for someone who will pay you for the solution. When you look at OpenClaw's ability to automate tasks, you should not be thinking, that is neat. You should be thinking, who would pay me to automate this for them? When you look at its ability to analyze data and generate reports, you should not be thinking, cool, I can use this for my own stuff. You should be thinking, what business owner is drowning in data right now and would pay me $500 a month to have this handled automatically? That is the lens. That is the filter. Every single chapter in this book is built around that way of thinking, and if you adopt it now, everything that follows is going to land differently for you. Let me be real with you for a second. You picked up this book because you want to make money. Maybe you are tired of your current situation. Maybe you are working a job that does not pay you what you are worth. Maybe you are a student looking at the world and wondering how you are going to build something for yourself. Maybe you have tried other side hustles and they did not work out. Whatever your situation is, I want you to know that the strategies in this book are real. They are not theoretical. They are not hype. They are based on what is actually working right now in the market, and they are designed so that someone with zero technical background can follow them step by step. But they only work if you commit to the mindset that OpenClaw is not a hobby. It is your business. Treat it that way, and the results will follow. Now that you understand what OpenClaw is, what it can do, and why it sits in a completely different league than the AI tools most people are playing with, it is time to get your hands dirty. In the next chapter, we are going to walk through exactly how to get OpenClaw installed and configured for business use. No fluff, no unnecessary complexity. Just the fastest path from, I do not have OpenClaw yet, to, I am ready to start making money with it. Let us keep this momentum going. Chapter 2, Getting Set Up for Profit, Installing and Configuring OpenClaw the Right Way. A sharp blade is useless if it never leaves the sheath. Here is the truth about most people who get excited about a new tool. They spend weeks researching it. They read articles, watch YouTube videos, join forums, and talk about all the things they are going to do with it. And then they never actually set it up. They get stuck in the learning phase and never cross over into the doing phase. That is not going to be you. This chapter exists for one reason, to get you from, I do not have OpenClaw running, to, I am ready to start making money, in the fastest, most efficient way possible. We are not going to cover every setting, every option, and every advanced configuration. That is what the OpenClaw Bible is for, and if you want the full deep dive into every technical detail, that book will walk you through it all. What we are doing here is the business setup. The minimum viable installation that gets you operational and ready to start executing on the money-making strategies in the chapters ahead. I want to be upfront about something before we get into the steps. This chapter might feel like the least exciting part of the book. I get it. You did not buy this book to learn about installation steps. You bought it to learn how to make money. But think about it this way, every single dollar you are going to earn with OpenClaw flows through the system you set up in this chapter. If you skip it or half-ass it, every strategy that comes after will be harder than it needs to be. If you take 30 to 60 minutes right now and get this done properly, everything else in this book becomes plug and play. So pour yourself a coffee, open your laptop, and let us get this handled. By the end of this chapter, you will have a fully working OpenClaw setup that is optimized for the business models we are about to dive into, and you will have spent almost nothing to get there. One more thing. I know some of you reading this are going to see the word installing and immediately feel a wave of anxiety. Maybe you have never installed software beyond downloading an app from the App Store. Maybe the idea of running something on your own computer or a server sounds intimidating. I need you to push past that feeling right now. The process is simpler than you think, and I am going to walk you through it in plain English. No assumptions about what you already know. No skipping steps because I think they are obvious. If you can follow a recipe, you can do this. Let us get started. Choosing your setup path, local, cloud, or hybrid. The first decision you need to make is where OpenClaw is going to run. You have 3 options, and each one has a different cost profile and a different set of advantages. Understanding these options now is going to save you money and headaches down the road, so pay attention to this section even if you think you already know what you want. The first option is running OpenClaw locally on your own computer. This means you download and install it on the laptop or desktop you already own. The advantage here is obvious, it costs you nothing beyond the electricity to run your machine. There is no monthly server bill, no hosting fees, no recurring costs for the platform itself. For someone who is just getting started and wants to learn the tool, test things out, and build their first few projects without spending a dime, local installation is the way to go. The limitation is that your computer needs to be on and running whenever you want OpenClaw to work. If you close your laptop, your agents stop running. If you want to deliver a service to a client that runs 24 hours a day, your laptop cannot be the backbone of that operation. But for learning, experimenting, and even delivering your first few freelance projects, local is more than enough. The second option is running OpenClaw on a cloud server. This means you rent a small virtual server from a provider like DigitalOcean, Hetzner, or Vultr, and you install OpenClaw on that server instead of your personal computer. The cost for a basic server that can handle OpenClaw comfortably starts at around $4 to $6 a month. That is not a typo. For less than the price of a single coffee at Starbucks, you can have OpenClaw running around the clock on a server that never sleeps, never shuts down, and is accessible from anywhere. For anyone who is serious about building a business with OpenClaw, cloud is the move. It gives you reliability, it gives you professionalism when dealing with clients, and it means your personal computer is free to do other things. The third option is a hybrid approach, and this is actually what I recommend for most readers of this book. You start by installing OpenClaw locally on your machine. You use that local setup to learn the tool, follow along with the chapters in this book, and build your first projects. Then, once you land your first paying client or start generating revenue from any of the business models we cover, you spin up a cheap cloud server and move your operation there. This way, you spend $0 until you are actually making money, and then you invest a tiny fraction of your income into infrastructure that makes your business more professional and reliable. It is the smartest path because it eliminates the excuse of, "I cannot afford to get started," while still giving you a clear upgrade path when the money starts coming in. The fast-track installation, from zero to running in under an hour. Let me walk you through the actual installation process. I am going to keep this streamlined and focused on getting you up and running. If you want to understand every technical detail of what is happening behind the scenes during installation, the OpenClaw Bible breaks it all down step by step with screenshots and troubleshooting for every possible scenario. What we are doing here is the express lane. The first thing you need is a computer running Windows, Mac, or Linux. It does not matter which one. OpenClaw works on all three. Your computer does not need to be powerful or expensive. If it was made in the last 5 or 6 years and it can run a web browser without freezing, it can run OpenClaw. You are also going to need an internet connection, obviously, because OpenClaw connects to AI models that run in the cloud. The actual processing power for the AI does not come from your computer. It comes from the model providers. Your machine is basically just the control center that sends instructions and receives results. That is why even a budget laptop can handle this. The installation itself follows a straightforward process. You are going to download the OpenClaw package from the official repository, which is completely free. You will need to have a couple of basic tools on your computer, specifically Docker, which is a program that lets you run applications in a contained environment without messing with your system settings. If that sounds complicated, it is not. Docker has a simple installer that takes about 2 minutes, and once it is running, you do not really need to think about it again. With Docker installed, getting OpenClaw up and running is essentially a single command that pulls everything down and sets it up for you automatically. The whole process, from a completely fresh computer to having OpenClaw running in your browser, takes most people somewhere between 20 and 45 minutes, including the time to install Docker if you do not already have it. Once the installation finishes, you will open your web browser, type in a local address, and you will see the OpenClaw interface. That is it. You are in. At that point, you have a fully functional AI agent platform running on your machine, and you are already ahead of 99% of people who have heard of OpenClaw but never bothered to actually install it. The gap between knowing about a tool and having it running is where most people fall off. You just close that gap. Configuring for profit, the settings that actually matter. Now that OpenClaw is running, we need to configure it for business use. This is where most tutorials and guides go wrong. They walk you through every single setting, every toggle, every option, and by the time you are done, you have spent 3 hours tweaking things that have zero impact on your ability to make money. We are not doing that. I am going to show you the configurations that directly affect your bottom line, and we are going to skip everything else until you actually need it. The most important configuration is connecting an AI model. OpenClaw is the platform, but it needs an AI brain to power it. The most common and cost-effective choice for beginners is connecting it to an API from providers like OpenAI, Anthropic, or open-source models you can run for free. Each provider has a different pricing structure, but here is what you need to know right now. For most business tasks, you are going to spend somewhere between 1 and 5 cents per task. That is not per hour. That is per task. If you are writing a blog post for a client and charging them $50 for it, your AI cost for that task might be 2 cents. If you are generating a market analysis report and charging $300, your cost might be a nickel. These margins are absurd in the best possible way, and they are one of the biggest reasons an OpenClaw business can be so profitable so quickly. To connect a model, you create an account with the provider, get an API key, which is basically a password that lets OpenClaw talk to the AI, and paste that key into your OpenClaw settings. 5 minutes, done. The next configuration that matters is setting up your agent profiles. Think of an agent as a specialized worker. You do not want one generic agent doing everything. You want agents that are configured for specific tasks. If you are going to be doing freelance writing, you set up a writing agent with instructions that tell it exactly how to approach content creation, what tone to use, what format to follow, and what quality standards to maintain. If you are going to be offering automation services, you set up an automation agent with the right tool connections and workflow templates. You can have as many agents as you want, and each one costs you nothing to create. The power move here is to start building your agent profiles around the business model you choose in Chapter 3. Once you pick your path, come back to this section and set up 1 or 2 agents specifically designed for that type of work. That way, when you land your first client, you are not scrambling to figure out how to configure things. You just point your pre-built agent at the task and let it work. The last critical configuration is connecting external tools. This is what separates OpenClaw from every basic AI chatbot. You can connect it to web browsers, email services, file systems, databases, messaging platforms, and dozens of other tools depending on what your business needs. For your initial setup, I recommend connecting at minimum a web browsing tool, because almost every business use case requires the ability to pull information from the internet, and a file management tool so your agents can create, save, and organize the documents and deliverables you are going to produce for clients. As your business grows, you will add more connections based on what your clients need, but these two will cover you for at least your first several projects. Your cost-cutting playbook, running a business on almost nothing. Let me talk about money for a minute, because one of the biggest advantages you have with an OpenClaw business is how ridiculously low your overhead can be, but only if you are smart about it from the beginning. I have seen people get excited about AI businesses and immediately start spending money on expensive cloud servers, premium API plans, and tools they do not need yet. Do not be that person. Your goal right now is to keep your costs as close to zero as possible until revenue is coming in, and then reinvest strategically. Here is what your startup cost looks like if you follow the hybrid approach I recommended earlier. Day 1, your cost is zero. You install OpenClaw on your own computer, sign up for an API key with a provider that offers free credits to new users, most of them do, and you are operational without spending a single dollar. You use this setup to learn, practice, build your first projects, and even deliver your first freelance jobs. Your only cost at this stage is the API usage, which will be pennies per task. Most providers charge you based on actual usage, not a flat monthly fee, so if you are doing 10 tasks a day while you are learning, you might spend 30 to 50 cents total. That is less than $1 a day to run an entire AI business platform. Once you start generating income, and you will if you follow the strategies in the chapters ahead, you reinvest a small portion into upgrading your setup. The first upgrade is moving to a cloud server, which as I mentioned runs about $4 to $6 a month for a basic setup. The second upgrade is budgeting for API costs as your volume increases. A good rule of thumb is to keep your API costs below 10% of what you charge your clients. So if you are charging a client $500 a month for an automation service, your API costs for their work should be under $50, and in most cases it will be well under that. The third upgrade, and this one is optional but powerful, is exploring open-source AI models that you can run directly on your server for free. This eliminates API costs entirely for certain types of tasks, which pushes your profit margins even higher. The point is this: you do not need money to start this business. You need a computer, an internet connection, and the willingness to follow the steps in this book. Every other expense is optional and should only be added when revenue justifies it. I have worked with people who built their first $1,000 month using nothing but a 5-year-old laptop and free API credits. The tool is free. The knowledge is in your hands right now. The only cost that actually matters is your time, and if you invest it wisely over the next 30 days, the return on that investment can change everything. Your OpenClaw setup is now ready for business. You have the platform installed, the AI model connected, your first agent profiles configured, and a cost structure that lets you start with almost nothing and scale as you grow. That is the foundation. Now it is time to decide exactly how you are going to use this setup to make money. In the next chapter, we are going to lay out the 5 OpenClaw business models that are actually working right now, compare them side by side, and help you choose the path that fits your situation, your skills, and your goals. This is where the real fun begins. Chapter 3, The 5 OpenClaw Business Models that actually work. Opportunity does not knock on every door. It knocks on the doors of people who already know which room they are standing in. Now we get to the part of the book that changes everything. You have OpenClaw installed. You understand what it does and why it is different from every other AI tool on the market. You have it configured and ready to go. But here is the question that separates the people who actually make money from the people who just have a cool tool sitting on their computer collecting digital dust. What exactly are you going to do with it? That is what this chapter answers. We are going to lay out 5 business models that are working right now, today, in the real world, for real people who are using OpenClaw to generate real income. Not theoretical ideas. Not, maybe this could work someday, speculation. These are the 5 paths that have the highest probability of putting money in your bank account in the shortest amount of time, and each one is covered in deep detail in the chapters that follow. But before we dive into each model, I need you to understand something about how this chapter works. This is your roadmap chapter. Think of it like standing at a crossroads with 5 different paths in front of you. Each path leads to money, but each one has a different speed, a different level of effort, a different income ceiling, and a different set of requirements. Your job by the end of this chapter is to pick one path. Not 2. Not 3. 1. You can always come back and add a second income stream later, and in Chapter 10 we will talk about exactly how to stack multiple models together. But right now, trying to chase all 5 at once is the fastest way to make $0 from all of them. Focus wins. Scattered effort loses. Pick the model that fits your current situation, your skills, your available time, and your financial goals, and then go all in on it when we hit the detailed chapters. That is how this works. I am going to break down each model honestly. I am not going to hype up any of them or pretend they are easier than they are. For each one, I will give you the realistic startup cost, the time investment required, the income potential in your first 30 to 90 days, and the difficulty level. I will also tell you who each model is best suited for, because the right business for a college student with 10 hours a week is very different from the right business for someone who just quit their job and has 40 hours a week to dedicate. By the end of this chapter, you will know exactly which path is yours. Model 1, Freelancing with OpenClaw Services. This is the fastest path to your first dollar, and for most readers of this book, this is where I recommend starting. The concept is simple. Businesses and individuals need things done. Writing, research, data analysis, content creation, customer support scripts, lead generation, report building, the list goes on forever. Most of them are either doing these tasks manually, paying expensive employees or contractors to handle them, or using basic AI tools that give them mediocre results. You step in with OpenClaw, deliver better. Work in less time at a lower price than their current options, and you get paid. That is the entire model. The startup cost is essentially zero. You already have OpenClaw installed from Chapter 2. You sign up for freelancing platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, or Freelancer, which are free to join. Your only ongoing cost is the API usage for the tasks you complete, which as we covered is pennies per job. The time investment to land your first client is typically 1 to 3 weeks if you follow the strategies in Chapter 4, which walks you through exactly how to set up your profile, what services to offer, how to price them, and how to write proposals that actually win. Income potential in your first 30 days is realistically anywhere from $200 to $1,000, depending on how aggressively you pursue it and which services you offer. By 90 days, freelancers who stick with it and follow the scaling strategies are consistently hitting $2,000 to $5,000 per month. Let me give you a quick picture of what this looks like in practice. Imagine someone named Marcus. He is 24, working a retail job, and has about 15 hours a week he can dedicate to this. Marcus sets up his OpenClaw system, creates a profile on Upwork offering AI-powered blog writing and research services, and prices himself at $75 per blog post. His first week, he sends out 20 proposals and lands 2 clients. Each blog post takes him about 45 minutes to deliver using OpenClaw, and his AI cost per post is roughly 3 cents. By the end of his first month, he has 8 regular clients and is earning $600 on the side. That is not life-changing money yet, but it is real money, earned in his spare time, with almost no startup cost. And it is just the beginning, because Marcus now has skills, a reputation, and a client base he can grow from. That is the power of the freelancing model. It is fast, it is low risk, and it builds momentum quickly. Model 2, building an OpenClaw automation agency. If freelancing is the sprint, the automation agency is the marathon that pays you every single month. This model takes the skills you develop as a freelancer and packages them into a real business with recurring revenue. Instead of doing one-off tasks for clients, you build automated systems using OpenClaw that solve ongoing problems for businesses, and those businesses pay you a monthly fee to keep those systems running and maintained. Think of it like being a landlord, but instead of renting out apartments, you are renting out AI-powered workflows. The startup cost is still very low, maybe $10 to $50 a month once you are running client systems on a cloud server. The time investment is higher than freelancing because you need to learn how to identify automation opportunities, pitch them to business owners, and deliver systems that are reliable enough to run without constant supervision. Realistically, it takes most people 4 to 8 weeks to land their first agency client, but here is the upside: that first client might pay you $300 to $1,000 per month, every month, for as long as the system is running. By 90 days, an agency builder with 2 or 3 recurring clients is looking at $1,000 to $4,000 per month in predictable, recurring revenue. By 6 months, 5 figures per month is absolutely achievable. This model is best suited for someone who has a bit more time to invest upfront and is thinking long-term. If you are the kind of person who would rather build something that pays you repeatedly than chase new gigs every week, this is your path. Chapter 5 goes deep into exactly how to find clients, what to pitch them, how to price your services, and how to build systems that practically run themselves. The beauty of this model is that once you have 5 or 6 clients paying you monthly, you have a business that generates income whether you are working that week or not. That is the kind of financial stability that changes lives. Model 3, AI-powered websites, Model 4, trading and market analysis, and Model 5, digital products. The remaining 3 models each open up a different door, and depending on your interests and your situation, any one of them could be the perfect fit for you. Let me break each one down so you have the full picture. Building and selling AI-powered websites is Model 3, and it sits in a sweet spot between freelancing and product creation. The idea is that you use OpenClaw to help you build functional websites and web applications that have AI capabilities baked in, and then you sell those websites to clients or launch them as your own products. Local businesses are hungry for this right now. A restaurant that wants an AI chatbot on their website to handle reservations and answer menu questions. A real estate agent who wants a property search tool powered by AI. A fitness coach who wants an automated client onboarding system on their site. These are real needs, and most web developers have no idea how to integrate AI into their work. You do, because you have OpenClaw. Startup cost is minimal since OpenClaw handles the AI side and there are free or cheap tools for the web development side. Income potential for website projects ranges from $500 to $3,000 per project, with the option to charge monthly maintenance fees. Difficulty is moderate because you do need some basic understanding of how websites work, but Chapter 6 walks you through it even if you have never built a site before. Time to first income is typically 3 to 6 weeks. Model 4 is AI-assisted trading and market analysis, and I want to be completely honest with you about this one. It is the most exciting model on the surface, and it is also the one where you can lose money if you are not careful. OpenClaw can be a powerful tool for analyzing market data, tracking sentiment across news and social media, backtesting trading strategies, and identifying patterns that would take a human hours to spot. It is not, however, a magic money printer. Chapter 7 covers this in full detail with all the necessary disclaimers and realistic expectations. The startup cost includes your OpenClaw setup plus whatever capital you are trading with, and I strongly recommend starting with a paper trading account where no real money is at risk. Income potential varies wildly because trading is inherently unpredictable, but the real money in this model might not be in trading your own account. It might be in selling your analysis, your reports, or your strategy tools to other traders. This model is best for people who already have an interest in financial markets and want to add AI-powered analysis to their toolkit. If you have never looked at a stock chart in your life, this is probably not your first choice. Model 5 is creating and selling digital products powered by OpenClaw, and this is the model that gets me genuinely excited for the long term. Digital products are things like templates, toolkits, guides, courses, prompt libraries, automation blueprints, and any other asset that you create once and sell over and over again. The beauty of digital products is that there is no marginal cost. You spend time creating the product, and then every sale after that is almost pure profit. OpenClaw accelerates the creation process dramatically because you can use it to generate content, build tools, create templates, and package everything professionally in a fraction of the time it would take manually. Startup cost is essentially zero since you are using OpenClaw to create the products and selling them on platforms like Gumroad, Etsy, or Amazon that are free to list on. Income potential in the first 30 days is typically lower than freelancing because you need time to create the products and build visibility, but by 90 days, a well-executed digital product strategy can generate $500 to $2,000 per month in semi-passive income. The word semi-passive is important. You still need to market your products and occasionally update them, but the income keeps coming in from sales you are not actively working on. Chapter 8 covers the full playbook. Choosing your path, how to decide which model is right for you. Here is the decision framework. I want you to ask yourself 3 questions, and your answers will point you to the right model. Question 1, how fast do you need money? If the answer is, as fast as humanly possible, start with freelancing. It has the shortest runway to your first dollar and the lowest barrier to entry. You can literally have your first paying client within 2 weeks of finishing this book. Question 2, are you building for now, or are you building for the future? If you want something that pays you right now, freelancing and website building are your best bets. If you are willing to invest a few extra weeks up front to build something that pays you every month on autopilot, the automation agency or digital products model is where you should focus. Question 3, what genuinely interests you? This matters more than people think. If the idea of working with small business owners and solving their operational problems excites you, go with the agency model. If you love the idea of creating something once and selling it 1,000 times, digital products are your path. If you are fascinated by financial markets and data analysis, the trading model will keep you engaged long enough to actually succeed with it. Interest drives consistency, and consistency is what separates the people who make it from the people who quit after 3 weeks. Here is my recommendation for most readers of this book, especially if you are starting from zero. Begin with freelancing. Use chapters 4 and 9 as your primary playbook. Land your first 3 to 5 clients, get comfortable delivering work with OpenClaw, and build your confidence. Once you have consistent freelance income coming in, pick a second model to layer on top. The automation agency is the natural next step for most people because it turns your freelance skills into recurring revenue. Digital products make a great third layer because they generate income without requiring your direct time. Stack them over the course of 3 to 6 months, and you have multiple income streams all powered by the same tool. But here is the thing that matters most. Whichever model you choose, commit to it. Do not read the next 5 chapters and then sit there paralyzed trying to figure out the perfect strategy. There is no perfect strategy. There is only the strategy you actually execute. Pick one, follow the steps in its dedicated chapter, and start moving. You can adjust, pivot, and add on later. Right now, the only wrong choice is no choice at all. You have the roadmap. You know the 5 paths. You know the costs, the timelines, the income potential, and who each model is best for. Now it is time to go deep. In the next chapter, we are picking up the fastest path to cash flow and breaking it down step by step. Freelancing with OpenClaw. How to find clients, how to price your services, how to deliver work that blows people away, and how to build a pipeline that keeps the money coming in week after week. This is where we stop talking about possibilities and start building your income. Let us go. Chapter 4, Freelancing with OpenClaw. Selling AI services for immediate cash flow. Nobody ever got rich waiting for the perfect moment. The money goes to the ones who move first. This is the chapter where your income starts. Everything before this was setup, strategy, and understanding. All of that was necessary, and if you skipped any of it, go back and read it because what we are about to do requires that foundation. But from this page forward, we are in execution mode. Freelancing with OpenClaw is the fastest, most accessible, and most reliable way to go from zero income to real cash in your bank account, and this chapter is your complete playbook for making it happen. I am going to walk you through exactly which platforms to use, how to position yourself so clients choose you over hundreds of other freelancers, how to price your services so you are making serious money per hour without scaring people away, and how to deliver work so good that clients come back to you again and again without you having to chase them. By the end of this chapter, you will have everything you need to land your first paying client within the next 14 days. Not 14 months. Not someday when the timing is right. 14 days. Let me tell you why freelancing is the starting point I recommend for almost everyone who reads this book, even if your long-term goal is to build an agency or sell digital products or do something else entirely. Freelancing teaches you the most important skill in any business, getting someone to pay you money in exchange for value. That sounds obvious, but you would be amazed at how many people try to build complex businesses without ever having gone through the simple process of finding a person with a problem, offering to solve it, and collecting payment. Freelancing forces you through that cycle quickly and repeatedly. Every client you land is a rep, every project you deliver is practice. Every payment you receive is proof that what you are doing works. And the best part is that everything you learn as a freelancer transfers directly into every other business model in this book. The client communication skills, the project management instincts, the ability to scope work and deliver on time, all of it becomes the backbone of whatever you build next. So even if freelancing is not your ultimate destination, treat this chapter like your boot camp. It is where you earn your stripes. One more thing before we dive in. I know some of you might be thinking that freelancing sounds small. That it sounds like gig work. That it is not a real business. Let me kill that idea right now. Freelancing with OpenClaw is not the same as driving for Uber or doing random tasks on TaskRabbit. You are offering a specialized, high-value service that most businesses desperately need but do not know how to get. You are not competing on price with thousands of people who can do the same thing. You are offering something that 99% of freelancers on these platforms cannot offer because they do not have the tool you have and they do not know how to use it the way you are about to learn. That is your edge. That is your unfair advantage. Now let us put it to work. Picking your platform and planting your flag. The first thing you need is a place where clients can find you and hire you. There are dozens of freelancing platforms out there, but not all of them are created equal, and spreading yourself too thin across 10 different sites is a waste of your time. You want to focus on 2 or 3 platforms maximum, dominate them, and expand later only if it makes sense. Here are the platforms that work best for the type of services you are going to offer with OpenClaw, and why each one matters. Upwork is the heavyweight champion of freelancing platforms and it should be your primary battleground. It has the largest pool of clients actively looking for the exact types of services that OpenClaw enables you to deliver. Content writing, data analysis, research, automation, virtual assistant work, report generation, web scraping, and dozens of other categories where your OpenClaw-powered services fit perfectly. The platform operates on a proposal system where clients post jobs and freelancers submit proposals explaining why they are the right person for the work. Your advantage here is enormous because you can deliver faster, produce higher quality work, and handle more volume than freelancers who are doing everything manually. Upwork does take a percentage of your earnings, starting at 20% for your first $500 with a client and dropping to 10% after that, but do not let that discourage you. The access to clients is worth the fee, especially when you are starting out and do not have your own marketing machine yet. Fiverr is your second platform, and it works differently from Upwork in an important way. On Fiverr, you do not apply to jobs. Instead, you create service listings called gigs that describe what you offer, and clients come to you. Think of it like setting up a shop window. You create a gig for AI-powered blog writing or automated market research reports or AI data analysis and visualization, and when clients search for those services, your gig shows up. The advantage of Fiverr is that once your gigs are set up and optimized, they can generate leads passively while you sleep. The disadvantage is that it takes longer to gain traction because the platform favors sellers with reviews and history, so your first few weeks might be slow. But once the flywheel starts spinning, Fiverr can become a consistent source of inbound clients without you lifting a finger to find them. The third option is direct outreach, which is not a platform but a strategy that you should be running alongside your platform presence from day one. Direct outreach means identifying businesses that need the services you offer and contacting them directly through email, LinkedIn, or social media. This is harder than responding to job posts on Upwork because you have to find the clients yourself and convince them they have a problem worth solving. But the payoff is massive. Direct clients do not come through a platform, which means no platform fees. They tend to pay higher rates because there is no competitive bidding process. And they are more likely to become long-term recurring clients because the relationship is personal, not transactional. Chapter 9 covers the marketing and outreach strategies in full detail, but start thinking about this now because the freelancers who add direct outreach to their platform strategy are the ones who scale fastest. What to sell and how to price it without leaving money on the table. Now that you know where to sell, let us talk about what to sell and for how much. This is where most new freelancers make their biggest mistakes. They either offer services that nobody is looking for, or they price themselves so low that they are working for pennies. Both of those mistakes end your freelancing career before it starts. I am going to show you the services that are in highest demand right now and how to price them in a way that is attractive to clients while still making you serious money per hour of actual work. The highest demand services for OpenClaw freelancers right now fall into a few clear categories. Content creation is the biggest one. Businesses need blog posts, articles, email sequences, social media content, product descriptions, website copy, and a dozen other types of written content. They need it constantly, they need it fast, and most of them are either paying writers $50 to $200 per piece or struggling to produce it themselves. With OpenClaw, you can produce a high-quality, researched blog post in 30 to 45 minutes that would take a traditional writer 3 to 5 hours. That speed advantage is your entire business model in this category. You charge competitive rates, deliver faster than anyone else, and your actual per-hour earnings are through the roof because OpenClaw is doing the heavy lifting. Research and data analysis is the second category, and it is growing fast. Businesses need market research, competitor analysis, data compilation, trend reports, and all kinds of information gathering that is tedious and time-consuming for humans but lightning fast for an OpenClaw agent. A small business owner who needs a competitor analysis report might spend 10 hours doing it themselves or pay a consulting firm $2,000. You can deliver the same quality report in 2 hours using OpenClaw and charge somewhere between $150 and $500 depending on the depth. The client gets a better deal than the consulting firm, and you make an incredible hourly rate. The third category is what I call AI implementation services. This is where you help businesses set up AI-powered workflows, chatbots, automated email systems, or any other process that leverages AI to save them time or money. This category pays the most per project but requires a bit more skill to deliver. It is also the bridge between freelancing and the agency model we cover in Chapter 5, because these kinds of projects naturally lead to ongoing maintenance contracts. Pricing for AI implementation projects ranges from $500 to $3,000 depending on complexity, and once you have delivered 2 or 3 of them, you have case studies that make selling the next one dramatically easier. Let me give you a pricing framework that works. For content creation, start at $50 to $75 per blog post or article, and raise your rates by 25% after you have 10 completed projects and at least 3 5-star reviews. For research and analysis, start at $100 to $150 per report and scale up as you take on more complex projects. For AI implementation, start at $500 for simple projects and work your way up as your portfolio grows. These are starting prices. Within 3 to 6 months, you should be charging significantly more because you will have the reviews, the portfolio, and the confidence to justify it. The key principle is this: never price based on how long the work takes you. Price based on the value the client receives. A blog post that helps a business rank on Google and drive customers is worth far more than the 45 minutes it took you to produce it. Delivering work that makes clients come back for more. Landing a client is step 1. Delivering work so good that they never want to use anyone else is step 2, and it is actually more important. A freelancer who lands 10 clients but loses all of them because the work was mediocre is worse off than a freelancer who lands 3 clients and keeps all 3 coming back month after month. Retention is the game, and OpenClaw gives you an unfair advantage in playing it. Here is how the delivery process works in practice. A client hires you to write a series of blog posts about small business marketing. You take their brief, which usually includes the topics they want covered, any keywords they care about, the tone they are going for, and any specific requirements. You then configure your OpenClaw agent with these parameters. You set up the agent to research each topic using web browsing tools, pull in current data and statistics, and generate a comprehensive first draft that follows the client's specifications. The agent produces that draft in minutes. But here is the part that separates a good freelancer from a great one: you do not just send the raw AI output to the client. You review it. You refine the opening to make it grab attention. You check the facts and statistics. You adjust the tone if anything feels off. You add a personal touch or a unique angle that makes the piece stand out. This review and refinement process takes you 15 to 20 minutes per piece, and it is the difference between delivering something generic and delivering something that makes the client say, "This is exactly what I needed." The other key to retention is communication. Respond to client messages within a few hours, never more than 24. Deliver work on time or early, never late. If you are going to miss a deadline for any reason, let the client know before the deadline, not after. Ask clarifying questions before you start working, not after you have delivered something that misses the mark. These are basic professional standards, but you would be shocked at how many freelancers fail at them. Being reliable, responsive, and easy to work with puts you in the top 10% of freelancers on any platform, and when you combine that professionalism with the quality and speed that OpenClaw enables, you become practically irreplaceable in your client's eyes. Let me paint you a picture of what good retention looks like. Imagine a freelancer named Priya. She lands a content writing client in her second week on Upwork. The client needs 4 blog posts per month at $75 each. That is $300 per month from one client. Priya delivers consistently excellent work, always on time, always polished. After 2 months, the client asks if she can also handle their email newsletter. That is another $200 per month. A month later, they ask about social media captions. Another $150 per month. Now Priya is earning $650 per month from a single client, and she spends about 4 hours total per month on their work. She did not have to go find new clients or write new proposals. She just delivered great work, and the client kept buying more. That is the power of retention, and that is how a freelancing side hustle quietly turns into a serious income stream. From first client to full pipeline, scaling without burning out. Let me talk about what happens after you land your first few clients, because this is the phase where most freelancers either level up or flame out. The mistake people make is thinking that scaling means working more hours. It does not. Scaling means earning more money per hour of work, which means raising your rates, improving your efficiency, and being strategic about which clients you take on and which ones you let go. The first lever is your rates. After you have completed 10 to 15 projects with positive reviews, you should raise your rates by at least 25%. Most freelancers are terrified of this because they think clients will disappear. The opposite usually happens. Higher rates attract better clients who value quality over price, and those clients are easier to work with, pay on time, and stick around longer. The clients who only care about getting the cheapest possible price are the ones who will nickel and dime you, ask for endless revisions, and leave bad reviews over minor issues. Let them go to someone else. You do not want them. The second lever is efficiency. As you do more projects, you will start noticing patterns. Certain types of tasks come up over and over. Certain client requests are almost identical. This is where you start building templates and reusable agent configurations in OpenClaw. Instead of setting up your agent from scratch for every project, you have pre-built profiles for blog writing, for research reports, for email sequences, for each type of work you regularly deliver. This cuts your setup time dramatically and means you can take on more projects without adding hours to your week. The third lever is selectivity. Once you have more incoming work than you can handle, you start choosing only the projects that pay the best, require the least back and forth, and come from clients who are likely to become long-term relationships. You politely decline everything else or refer it to other freelancers. This sounds counterintuitive when you are starting out, but within 2 to 3 months of consistent effort, you should be at the point where you can afford to be selective. That selectivity is what pushes your effective hourly rate from $20 or $30 up to $75, $100, or even more. Here is what a healthy freelance pipeline looks like after 60 to 90 days of following this playbook. You have 5 to 8 active clients who collectively generate between $2,000 and $5,000 per month. You are spending 15 to 25 hours per week on client work, which means the rest of your time is yours. You have a waiting list of potential clients from your Upwork and Fiverr profiles, which gives you the freedom to drop any client who becomes difficult and immediately replace them. And most importantly, you have built a skill set and a reputation that opens the door to everything else in this book. You know how to find clients, deliver value, collect payment, and keep people coming back. Those skills are the foundation of every business model that follows. Speaking of what follows, the natural next step for a freelancer who has built a solid client base is to stop selling individual projects and start selling ongoing services. That is exactly what the automation agency model is all about, and it is exactly what we are covering in the next chapter. You are going to take everything you have learned about finding clients and delivering value, and you are going to package it into a business that generates recurring monthly income without you having to constantly hunt for new gigs. If freelancing is where you earn your first dollars, the agency model is where you build real wealth. Let us get into it. Chapter 5, Building an OpenClaw Automation. Agency, Recurring Revenue and Scale. The difference between a job and a business is simple. A job pays you once for your time. A business pays you over and over for a system you built. If freelancing is the engine that gets you moving, the automation agency is the vehicle that takes you somewhere worth going. Let me be clear about what this chapter represents. This is the transition from trading your time for money to building something that generates income whether you are actively working or not. That is not a small shift. That is the difference between having a side hustle and having a real business. Everything you learned in the freelancing chapter was necessary because it taught you how to find clients, deliver value, and get paid. But freelancing has a ceiling, and if you are honest with yourself, you have probably already felt it. There are only so many hours in a week. There are only so many projects you can take on before you hit a wall. And every time you stop working, the money stops too. The agency model breaks through that ceiling by changing what you sell. Instead of selling your time on individual projects, you sell systems that run continuously and generate results for your clients month after month. And because those systems are powered by OpenClaw, they cost you almost nothing to maintain while your clients pay you hundreds or thousands of dollars every single month to keep them running. I want to set realistic expectations before we get into the mechanics. Building an agency is harder than freelancing. It takes longer to land your first client. The sales process is more involved. The delivery is more complex. And you need to think about things like onboarding, client management, and system reliability that you did not have to worry about when you were just completing one-off gigs. But the payoff is in a completely different league. A freelancer earning $3,000 a month is doing well, but they have to keep hustling every week to maintain that number. An agency owner earning $3,000 a month from 6 clients on $500 monthly retainers has predictable income that keeps coming in even during weeks when they do not actively sell. Add 2 more clients and they are at $4,000. Add 4 more and they are at $5,000. The math compounds in a way that freelancing simply cannot match, and that compounding is what turns a side income into a life-changing one. This chapter is going to show you how to make that transition. We are going to cover how to package your OpenClaw skills into services that businesses will pay for on a recurring basis, how to find and pitch those businesses, how to onboard them smoothly, and how to build systems that keep them paying month after month without you having to redo the work from scratch every time. If you followed the freelancing chapter and you have already landed a few clients, you are in the perfect position to start this transition right now. If you skipped straight to this chapter because the agency model is what excites you, that is fine too, but I strongly recommend going back and landing at least 2 or 3 freelance clients first. The experience you gain from those early projects will make everything in this chapter 10 times easier to execute. Productized services, the key to recurring revenue. The single most important concept in this entire chapter is the productized service. If you understand this concept deeply, the rest of the agency model falls into place almost automatically. If you do not, you will end up building a glorified freelancing operation that still depends on you for every task and still trades your hours for dollars. So pay close attention to this section. A productized service is a specific, well-defined service with a fixed scope and a fixed monthly price. It is not, I will do whatever you need with AI. It is, I will build and maintain an automated customer follow-up system that sends personalized emails to every new lead within 5 minutes of them filling out your contact form, follows up 3 times over the next 2 weeks, and sends you a weekly report of who responded and who did not. $500 per month. See the difference? The first one is vague, hard to sell, and impossible to scale because every client will want something different. The second one is specific, easy for the client to understand, easy for you to deliver because you build it once and maintain it, and easy to scale because you can sell the same system to dozens of businesses with minor customizations. That specificity is what makes it a product instead of a service. You are not selling your time. You are selling a result that runs on a system you have already built. The reason this model works so well with OpenClaw is that OpenClaw is designed to run automated workflows continuously. Once you build an automation for a client, it does not need you to sit there and operate it. The agent handles the tasks, the system runs in the background, and your job shifts from doing the work to monitoring the work and making adjustments when needed. A system that takes you 8 to 12 hours to build initially might only require 1 to 3 hours per month to maintain and improve. But the client is paying you $500 a month for it because the value they are getting, leads being followed up automatically, reports being generated, data being analyzed, customer inquiries being handled, that value runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your 3 hours of monthly maintenance is keeping a system alive that saves them 20, 30, or 40 hours of work every month. When you frame it that way, $500 is a bargain for them and an incredible deal for you. Let me give you some concrete examples of productized services that are selling right now. Automated lead follow-up systems for real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and insurance agents. AI-powered content generation pipelines for marketing agencies that need consistent blog posts, social media content, and email newsletters every week. Customer support automation for e-commerce businesses that handles common questions, processes simple requests, and escalates complex issues to a human. Automated reporting and analytics dashboards for businesses that need weekly or monthly performance summaries pulled from multiple data sources. Each one of these is a system you build once using OpenClaw, customize slightly for each client, and maintain for a few hours per month. Each one commands anywhere from $300 to $1,500 per month depending on the complexity and the value it delivers. And each one is the kind of thing that a business owner will gladly pay for indefinitely because the alternative is hiring a part-time employee at a much higher cost. Finding and closing your first agency clients. Finding agency clients is different from finding freelance clients, and you need to understand the difference so you do not waste time pitching the wrong people in the wrong way. Freelance clients are looking for someone to do a task. Agency clients are looking for someone to solve an ongoing problem. That distinction changes everything about how you find them, how you approach them, and how you pitch them. The best agency clients are small to medium-sized businesses that have repeatable processes they are doing manually right now and would love to automate but do not know how. Think about the business owner who spends 2 hours every morning going through emails, sorting leads, and sending follow-up messages. Think about the marketing manager who spends 10 hours a week compiling performance data from 5 different platforms into a single report. Think about the e-commerce store owner who answers the same 20 customer questions over and over again every day. These people are drowning in repetitive work. They know there has to be a better way, but they do not have the technical skills to build the solution themselves. That is where you come in. You are not selling them AI. You are selling them their time back. You are selling them the ability to focus on growing their business instead of being buried in the operational tasks that eat up their day. When you frame your pitch around the problem they are already frustrated with, selling becomes dramatically easier. The most effective way to find these clients when you are starting out is a combination of direct outreach and leveraging your existing freelance relationships. Direct outreach means identifying businesses in specific niches, reaching out through email or LinkedIn, and starting a conversation about their biggest operational headaches. You are not leading with, "I build AI automations." You are leading with, "I help real estate agents follow up with every lead automatically so no deal slips through the cracks," or, "I help e-commerce stores handle customer support without hiring another employee." The specificity of the problem you solve is what gets their attention. Generic pitches about AI get ignored. Specific solutions to specific problems get meetings. Your freelance clients are also a goldmine for agency conversions. If you have been delivering great work for a client on a project basis, you already have their trust. You already understand their business. And you are already in a position to spot the recurring tasks and processes that you could automate for them. The conversation is natural. Hey, I have been doing this blog content for you every month as individual projects. What if I set up a system that generates your content calendar, drafts all the posts, formats them for your website, and delivers them automatically on a schedule? Instead of paying per post, you pay a flat monthly fee and the whole process runs on autopilot. That is an easy yes for a client who already trusts your work, and it is the simplest way to get your first recurring revenue client without having to start from zero with a cold prospect. Onboarding clients and delivering results that stick. Landing the client is half the battle. The other half is delivering an experience so smooth and results so undeniable that they never want to leave. Client retention in the agency model is everything because each client you lose is a hole in your monthly revenue that you have to fill by finding a new one. Each client you keep is guaranteed income that compounds over time as you add more clients on top. The difference between an agency that grows and one that stagnates is almost always retention, not sales. The onboarding process is where retention starts, and most people underestimate how important it is. When a new client signs up for your service, the first 2 weeks set the tone for the entire relationship. If the onboarding is smooth, professional, and delivers quick early results, the client feels confident that they made the right decision. If the onboarding is messy, slow, or confusing, doubt creeps in immediately and you spend the rest of the relationship trying to overcome a bad first impression. Your onboarding should follow a clear, repeatable process. First, you have a kickoff call where you gather all the information you need about their business, their existing processes, their goals, and their expectations. Second, you build and configure their OpenClaw system, which should take you a few days at most since you are working from templates you have already created. Third, you run the system in a test phase for 3 to 5 days where you monitor everything closely, catch any issues, and fine-tune the automation. Fourth, you go live and send the client their first results along with a simple summary of what the system did and what value it delivered. That fourth step is critical because it is the moment where the client sees concrete proof that their investment is working. After onboarding, your job shifts to maintenance and optimization. This is the work that keeps clients paying month after month, and it is surprisingly light if you built the system correctly up front. A typical monthly maintenance cycle looks like this. You check the system once or twice a week to make sure everything is running smoothly. You review the output for quality and accuracy. You make small adjustments based on any feedback from the client or changes in their business needs. And once a month, you send the client a brief report showing what the system accomplished, what metrics improved, and any recommendations you have for the next month. That monthly report is pure gold for retention because it constantly reminds the client of the value they are receiving. Most businesses have no idea what their tools and services are actually doing for them. When you proactively show them the results, you eliminate the risk of them canceling because they are not sure if it is worth it. Imagine a scenario where you onboard a small e-commerce business that sells skincare products. Their biggest headache is customer support. They get 50 to 80 emails and chat messages per day with questions about ingredients, shipping times, order tracking, returns, and product recommendations. They have one part-time employee handling it, and that employee is overwhelmed. You build an OpenClaw-powered support agent that handles the 20 most common question types automatically, escalates anything complex to the human employee, and logs every interaction in a simple dashboard. Within the first week, the automated agent is handling 60% of all incoming inquiries. The part-time employee suddenly has time to focus on higher-value tasks. The business owner is thrilled because response times dropped from 6 hours to under 5 minutes. You charge them $700 a month. Your cost to run the system is about $8 a month in server and API fees. That is a client who is going to stay with you for a very long time because the value is obvious, the results are measurable, and replacing you would mean going back to the pain they were in before. Scaling the agency, systems, pricing, and getting free from the day-to-day. Once you have 3 to 5 recurring clients and a proven delivery process, you are sitting on something valuable. You have predictable income, proven systems, and a growing reputation. Now the question becomes, How do you scale this without working 80 hours a week and burning yourself into the ground? The answer is systems, smart pricing, and strategic delegation. Let us start with pricing because getting this right determines everything else. The most common pricing model for an OpenClaw automation agency is tiered monthly retainers. You offer 2 or 3 service tiers at different price points. A basic tier might be $300 to $500 per month and includes a single automation with standard maintenance. A professional tier at $700 to $1,000 per month includes multiple automations, priority support, and monthly optimization. A premium tier at $1,500 or more per month includes custom solutions, dedicated monitoring, and ongoing development of new automations as the client's needs evolve. Tiered pricing works because it gives clients a clear menu to choose from, makes upselling natural as clients see results and want more, and standardizes your delivery so you are not building something completely custom for every single client. Next, let us talk about systems. The agency founders who scale successfully are the ones who document and systematize every repeatable process in their business. Your onboarding process should be a checklist that anyone can follow. Your monitoring routines should be documented step by step. Your client reporting should be templated so it takes you 20 minutes instead of 2 hours. Even your sales process should have a script or framework that you follow for every prospective client call. The reason for all this documentation is not just efficiency for you right now. It is because the next stage of growth requires you to bring other people into the business, and you cannot delegate what you have not documented. When everything lives in your head, you are the bottleneck. When everything lives in a system, anyone can run it. That brings us to delegation and team building. You do not need to hire full-time employees to scale an agency. The smartest approach is to start with 1 or 2 virtual assistants or part-time contractors who handle the routine work, monitoring systems, compiling client reports, doing basic troubleshooting, and handling client communications. You can find reliable virtual assistants for $10 to $20 an hour depending on where they are located, and if your systems are well documented, they can handle most of the day-to-day within a week or 2 of training. This frees your time to focus on the 2 things that actually grow the business: selling new clients and building new automation offerings. The math works like this. If you have 10 clients paying an average of $600 per month, that is $6,000 per month in revenue. You pay a virtual assistant $800 to $1,000 per month to handle maintenance and reporting. Your server and API costs are maybe $75 per month total. That leaves you with roughly $5,000 in profit, and you are spending most of your time on sales and strategy rather than getting buried in operational work. From there, every new client you add is almost pure profit because your systems and your team can absorb the additional workload without you having to personally do more work. The agency model is how you go from making good money to building real wealth. It is how you stop trading hours for dollars and start building an asset that generates income predictably, scales without your direct involvement, and grows in value over time. But the agency is not the only way to build with OpenClaw. In the next chapter, we are going to explore a completely different angle, using OpenClaw to build and sell AI-powered websites. Whether you sell them to clients as a service or launch them as your own products, this model opens up an entirely new revenue stream that pairs perfectly with the agency business you are building now. Let us keep stacking. Chapter 6: Building and Selling AI-Powered Websites with OpenClaw. Build once. Sell forever. There is something deeply satisfying about building a thing that people can see, touch, and interact with. Freelancing is powerful. The agency model is a machine. But there is a different kind of energy that comes from creating a website, putting it in front of someone, and watching their eyes light up because it does something they have never seen before. That is what this chapter is about. We are going to talk about how to use OpenClaw to build websites and web applications that have real AI functionality baked into them, and then how to sell those websites to clients or launch them as your own revenue-generating products. This is not about building basic WordPress sites that anyone with a YouTube tutorial can throw together in an afternoon. This is about building websites that think, respond, analyze, and automate, and that is something the overwhelming majority of web developers and designers still have no idea how to do. That gap between what businesses want and what most builders can deliver is your opportunity, and it is wide open right now. Let me be honest about who this chapter is for. If you have some basic familiarity with how websites work, even if it is just from setting up a personal blog or messing around with Squarespace, you are going to pick this up fast. If you have never touched anything related to web development, this chapter is still for you, but it is going to require a bit more patience and learning on your part. I am going to walk you through the process in plain language, and OpenClaw itself eliminates a massive chunk of the technical complexity that would normally make website building intimidating for non-technical people. The tool can generate code, build page structures, create functionality, and handle integrations that would normally require a developer charging $50 to $100 an hour. You are not going to become a full-stack developer by reading this chapter. But you are going to learn enough to build AI-enhanced websites that businesses will pay real money for, and that is all that matters. Before we get into the how, let me give you the why in hard numbers. A basic business website without any AI features sells for anywhere from $500 to $2,000 depending on the complexity and the client. A website with AI-powered features, things like intelligent chatbots, automated lead qualification, personalized content delivery, or smart search functionality, sells for $2,000 to $5,000 or more. And here is where it gets really interesting. You can also charge a monthly maintenance and hosting fee of $100 to $300 to keep the AI features running and updated. Sound familiar? It should. That is the same recurring revenue model we talked about in the agency chapter, just delivered through a different vehicle. A client who buys a website from you and pays you $200 a month to maintain it is a client who generates $2,400 a year in passive income for you beyond the initial project fee. Stack 10 of those clients and you are sitting on $24,000 a year in recurring revenue from website maintenance alone. The numbers work, and they work well. What kinds of websites actually sell? The biggest mistake people make when they start building websites to sell is that they build what they think is cool instead of what businesses actually need and will pay for. Cool does not pay the bills. Solving a business problem pays the bills. So let us talk about the types of AI-powered websites that are in genuine demand right now and that you can realistically build with OpenClaw even if you are not a seasoned developer. The first and most in-demand category is small business websites with AI customer interaction. Think about your local dentist, your neighborhood restaurant, your city's plumbing company, the boutique clothing store downtown. These businesses all need websites, and most of them either do not have one or have one that looks like it was built in 2012 and does absolutely nothing useful. Now imagine approaching that dentist and saying, "I can build you a website where patients can ask questions about procedures, check available appointment times, and get instant answers 24 hours a day without anyone on your staff having to pick up the phone." That is a tangible, easy-to-understand value proposition, and it is exactly the kind of thing OpenClaw can power. The AI chatbot that handles patient inquiries is an OpenClaw agent configured with the dentist's specific information, services, and scheduling system. The website itself can be built with straightforward tools, and the AI layer is where your unique value lives. You charge $1,500 to $3,000 for the build and $150 to $250 per month to keep the AI updated and running. The dentist saves money compared to hiring a receptionist for after-hours calls, and you have a profitable client relationship that can last for years. The second category is AI-enhanced e-commerce features. Online stores are everywhere, and the competition is brutal. Store owners are desperate for anything that gives them an edge. AI-powered product recommendations, intelligent search that understands what a customer means even when they do not type the perfect search term, automated customer support that handles order tracking and returns without human involvement, and personalized shopping experiences that change based on how the visitor behaves on the site. These are features that major retailers like Amazon have had for years, but small and mid-sized e-commerce businesses have never been able to afford them. With OpenClaw, you can build lightweight versions of these features and offer them to store owners as add-ons to their existing sites or as part of a complete website package. The pricing for e-commerce AI features tends to be higher because the return on investment is so clear. If your AI recommendation engine increases a store's average order value by even 10%, the owner makes back your fee in the first month. The third category is lead generation websites for service businesses. Lawyers, accountants, consultants, real estate agents, financial advisors, and other service professionals live and die by their ability to generate qualified leads. A website that just sits there with a phone number and a contact form is not enough anymore. But a website that engages visitors in an intelligent conversation, asks qualifying questions, determines what service they need, captures their contact information, and sends a personalized follow-up email before the visitor has even left the site. That is a lead generation machine, and service professionals will pay a premium for it because every qualified lead is potentially worth thousands of dollars in revenue for their business. Building this type of website with OpenClaw means configuring an agent to handle the conversational flow, connecting it to an email system for follow-ups, and integrating it into a clean, professional website design. The technical complexity is moderate, but the value delivered to the client is enormous, which means your pricing reflects that value. Building the website, a process that works even without coding experience. Now let us talk about how you actually build these websites. I am going to walk you through a process that works whether you have years of coding experience or none at all. The key insight is that you are not building everything from scratch. You are combining existing tools with OpenClaw's AI capabilities to create something that is greater than the sum of its parts. The foundation of your website can be built using platforms and tools that are designed for people without coding backgrounds. Website builders like Webflow, Card, or even WordPress with the right theme give you a professional-looking site without writing a single line of code. Your job is not to become a web design expert. Your job is to get a clean, functional, professional-looking site up and running, and then layer the AI functionality on top using OpenClaw. That AI layer is where 90% of the value lives and where 100% of your competitive advantage exists. A beautiful website is a commodity. Anyone can buy a template for $40. A beautiful website with an intelligent AI agent that interacts with visitors, qualifies leads, answers questions, and automates follow-ups. That is something very few people can build, and you are one of them. The process follows a clear sequence. First, you define the project scope with your client. What does the website need to do? What problems does it need to solve? What does success look like? Get this in writing before you start building anything, because scope creep is the #1 profitability killer in website projects. Second, you set up the website structure using your chosen platform. Keep it clean and simple. 3 to 7 pages is enough for most small business websites. Home page, about page, services page, contact page, and maybe a blog or FAQ section. Third, you build and configure the OpenClaw agent that will power the AI features. This is the step where your OpenClaw skills shine. You configure the agent with the client's business information, set up the conversational flows or automation workflows, and test everything thoroughly. Fourth, you integrate the agent into the website. Most website platforms allow you to embed chat widgets, forms, and interactive elements that can connect to external services like your OpenClaw agent. Fifth, you test the entire experience from the perspective of a site visitor, fix anything that feels clunky or confusing, and deliver the finished product to the client. The whole process, from kickoff call to final delivery, typically takes 1 to 3 weeks depending on the complexity of the AI features. The website structure itself can be built in a day or two. The OpenClaw configuration and integration is where most of the time goes, and that time decreases dramatically after your first 2 or 3 projects because you start building from templates and reusable agent configurations rather than starting from zero every time. By your 5th or 6th project, you will have the process down to a science, and what used to take you 2 weeks will take you 5 to 7 days. That efficiency gain is what makes this model so profitable over time. Selling your websites, where to find buyers and how to close deals. Building a great product means nothing if you cannot sell it, so let us talk about getting your websites in front of people who will pay for them. There are 3 primary channels for selling AI-powered websites, and I recommend working all 3 simultaneously to maximize your deal flow. The first channel is local businesses, and this is the lowest hanging fruit for most people. Every city, every town, every neighborhood has businesses that need better websites. Walk down any main street and you will see restaurants, salons, dental offices, law firms, fitness studios, and retail shops, many of which either have terrible websites or no website at all. Your advantage is that you are not some faceless agency sending emails from across the country. You are a real person who can walk into their business, show them what you can build on your phone or laptop, and explain in plain English how an AI-powered website will bring them more customers and save them time. Local selling is powerful because trust is built faster in person. You can reference other local businesses you have worked with as social proof, and local business owners are often willing to pay a premium for someone they can actually meet face to face. Start with the businesses you already frequent. Your barber, your dentist, your favorite restaurant. Offer them a discounted rate on your first project in exchange for a testimonial and permission to use their website as a portfolio piece. That first local project becomes the proof of concept that sells every project after it. The second channel is freelancing platforms, which you already know how to use from Chapter 4. Upwork and Fiverr both have thriving categories for web development, and you can create gig listings specifically for AI-powered websites. The key to standing out on these platforms is specificity. Do not list yourself as a web developer. List yourself as someone who builds AI-powered websites for real estate agents or smart websites with AI chatbots for e-commerce stores. That specificity makes you memorable, makes your proposals more compelling, and positions you as a specialist rather than a generalist, which always commands higher prices. The third channel is online marketplaces where you can sell website templates and pre-built solutions to a broader audience. Platforms like ThemeForest, Creative Market, and even Gumroad allow you to sell website templates, and an AI-enhanced template is a premium product that stands out from the thousands of basic templates already available. This is closer to the digital products model that we will cover in Chapter 8, but it fits naturally here because it leverages the same skills you develop by building client websites. The beauty of selling templates is that you build them once and sell them hundreds or thousands of times. A template that includes a pre-configured OpenClaw chatbot integration, with documentation on how to customize it, could sell for $49 to $99 and generate passive income indefinitely. Pricing, delivery, and turning one project into a long-term relationship. Let me give you a pricing framework that balances competitiveness with profitability. For a basic small business website with a single AI feature like a chatbot, charge $1,500 to $2,500 for the build plus $100 to $200 per month for maintenance and hosting. For a more complex website with multiple AI features, dynamic content, and custom integrations, charge $3,000 to $5,000 for the build plus $200 to $350 per month. For e-commerce AI enhancements added to an existing store, charge $1,000 to $3,000 depending on the scope plus a monthly maintenance fee. These prices might feel high if you are new to selling, but remember what you are delivering. You are not just building a website. You are building a website with capabilities that most web developers cannot offer. The AI features alone would cost a business thousands of dollars to develop through a traditional development agency. You are giving them a premium product at a fraction of what the big agencies charge, and your margins are still excellent because OpenClaw keeps your costs minimal. The delivery process should mirror what we discussed in the agency chapter: professional onboarding, clear communication, and proactive reporting. When you deliver a website, walk the client through every feature. Show them how the AI chatbot works. Show them the analytics dashboard where they can see how many visitors interacted with the AI. Show them the lead capture system and how they will be notified when a new qualified lead comes in. This walkthrough is not just good customer service. It is a retention strategy because the more a client understands and uses the AI features, the more dependent they become on them, and the less likely they are to cancel the monthly maintenance fee. The real long-term play here is turning every website client into an ongoing relationship. The website is the door opener, but the monthly maintenance is the moneymaker. And once you have a client paying you monthly to maintain their site, you are in the perfect position to upsell additional AI features, automation services from your agency offering, or even content creation from your freelancing skills. One client can easily become a $500 to $1,000 per month relationship when you stack services on top of the initial website project. That kind of client value is what builds a business that supports a real lifestyle. You now have 3 powerful business models in your toolkit: freelancing for quick cash flow, the automation agency for recurring revenue, and AI-powered websites for premium project fees with ongoing maintenance income. In the next chapter, we are going to shift gears into territory that a lot of you have been waiting for. Trading and market analysis with OpenClaw. This one comes with bigger rewards but also bigger risks, and I am going to be completely straight with you about both. Let us get into it. Chapter 7, AI-assisted trading and market analysis with OpenClaw. Data sees what emotion blinds. I need to have a different kind of conversation with you before we get into this chapter. Every other chapter in this book is about building a business where you provide value to clients or customers and get paid for it. The risk in those models is low. If a freelance project does not work out, you lose some time. If a website client says no, you move on to the next one. Trading is different. Trading involves real money, real risk, and real consequences if you do not know what you are doing. I am not saying that to scare you away from this chapter. I am saying it because I respect you enough to tell you the truth instead of hyping you up with fantasies about AI trading bots that print money while you sleep on a beach. That is not what this chapter is. This chapter is an honest, grounded look at how OpenClaw can give you a genuine edge in trading and market analysis, what it can realistically do, what it absolutely cannot do, and how to approach this space intelligently so that you are building an advantage rather than gambling with your rent money. Here is the reality. OpenClaw is an incredibly powerful tool for analyzing data, spotting patterns, monitoring market sentiment, and backtesting strategies. These are things that professional traders and hedge funds spend millions of dollars on infrastructure to do, and OpenClaw puts a meaningful portion of that capability in your hands for almost nothing. That is a real advantage, and it would be foolish to ignore it. But OpenClaw is not a crystal ball. It cannot predict the future. It cannot guarantee profits. It cannot eliminate the fundamental uncertainty that makes financial markets what they are. Anyone who tells you otherwise is either lying or trying to sell you something. What OpenClaw can do is help you make better informed decisions, process information faster than you could manually, remove some of the emotional bias that destroys most retail traders, and identify opportunities that would be invisible to the naked eye. That is not a guarantee of success. It is a significant improvement in your odds, and in trading, improving your odds is the entire game. One more thing before we dive into the practical side. Nothing in this chapter is financial advice. I am not a licensed financial advisor. I am not recommending specific trades, specific assets, or specific strategies. What I am showing you is how to use a tool to enhance your own analysis and decision-making. What you do with that analysis is your responsibility, and you should never trade with money you cannot afford to lose. If that disclaimer feels heavy, good. It means you are taking this seriously, and that is exactly the mindset you need in this space. What OpenClaw can actually do in the trading world. Let us cut through the noise and talk about the specific capabilities that make OpenClaw useful for trading and market analysis. There are 4 core areas where the tool delivers real value, and understanding each one will help you build workflows that actually improve your results instead of just making you feel like you are doing something sophisticated. The first area is data aggregation and analysis. Financial markets generate an absurd amount of data every single day. Price movements, volume patterns, economic indicators, earnings reports, central bank statements, geopolitical events, and thousands of other variables all influence what happens in the market. No human being can process all of that information in real time. Most retail traders look at a handful of charts, maybe read a few articles, and make decisions based on a tiny fraction of the available information. OpenClaw changes that equation dramatically. You can configure an agent to pull data from multiple sources simultaneously, compile it into structured formats, identify correlations and anomalies, and present you with a clear summary of what the data is saying. Instead of spending 2 hours every morning reading through financial news and scanning charts, your OpenClaw agent does it in minutes and hands you a briefing that covers everything you need to know. You are not outsourcing your thinking. You are outsourcing the data gathering and initial processing so that your thinking is based on better, more complete information. The second area is sentiment analysis. Markets are driven by human emotion as much as they are driven by fundamentals, and understanding the current sentiment around an asset, a sector, or the market as a whole can give you a meaningful edge. OpenClaw can monitor news outlets, social media platforms, financial forums, analyst reports, and any other text-based source you point it at, and it can analyze the overall sentiment in near real time. Is the market feeling fearful or greedy about a particular stock? Are people on financial Twitter suddenly talking about a sector that has been quiet for months? Is the tone of recent earnings call transcripts shifting in a direction that the price has not reflected yet? These are the kinds of questions that sentiment analysis can help answer, and they are questions that most retail traders never even think to ask because they do not have the tools to answer them. You do. The third area is strategy backtesting. Before you risk a single dollar on a trading strategy, you should test it against historical data to see how it would have performed in the past. This is called backtesting, and it is something that professional traders do religiously but most retail traders skip entirely because it is tedious, technical, and time-consuming. OpenClaw can automate a significant portion of this process. You define your strategy rules, point the agent at historical data, and let it simulate how the strategy would have played out over months or years of market history. The results are not guarantees of future performance. Every financial disclaimer you have ever read will tell you that, but they give you a data-driven foundation for your decisions instead of gut feelings and hope. A strategy that performed well across multiple market conditions over several years of backtesting is a much better bet than a strategy some guy on a YouTube video told you about last week. The fourth area is alert and monitoring systems. Markets move fast, and opportunities can appear and disappear in hours or even minutes. You cannot sit in front of a screen all day watching charts, especially if you are also running a freelance business, an agency, or any of the other income streams from this book. OpenClaw can run monitoring agents that watch the markets for you based on criteria you define. Price drops below a certain level. You get an alert. Volume spikes on a stock you are watching. You get an alert. Sentiment shifts dramatically on an asset in your portfolio. You get an alert. These monitoring agents run continuously on your server, cost almost nothing in resources, and make sure you never miss a move that matters to your strategy. It is like having a research assistant who never sleeps and never gets distracted. Setting up your first trading analysis workflow. Let me walk you through what a practical OpenClaw trading workflow actually looks like from start to finish, because talking about capabilities is useless unless you know how to put them into action. This is a beginner-friendly workflow that you can set up in an afternoon and start using immediately. It is not the most advanced setup possible, but it will give you more analytical power than 90% of retail traders have access to, and you can refine and expand it over time as you learn what works for your specific trading style. The foundation of your workflow is a daily market briefing agent. This is an OpenClaw agent configured to run every morning before the market opens. It pulls data from financial news sources, checks the pre-market movement of assets you care about, scans for any major economic events or earnings reports scheduled for the day, and compiles everything into a concise briefing document that lands in your inbox or messaging app before you have finished your first cup of coffee. Setting this up requires configuring the agent with your preferred data sources, specifying which assets or sectors you want it to focus on, and defining the output format. The whole configuration takes about an hour, and once it is running, it saves you an hour or more of manual research every single morning. Over a month, that is 20 to 30 hours of your time reclaimed, and the quality of the briefing is more consistent and comprehensive than what you would produce manually because the agent does not get lazy or skip sources on days when it is not in the mood. The second component is a sentiment tracker that monitors social media and news for shifts in public opinion about specific assets or sectors. You configure this agent to check relevant sources at regular intervals throughout the day and flag any significant changes. If sentiment around a stock you own suddenly goes negative because of a news story you have not seen yet, you want to know about it before the price reflects it, not after. The sentiment tracker gives you that early warning system. It is not foolproof because sentiment does not always translate directly into price movement, but it adds a layer of awareness that most traders simply do not have. The third component is a journaling and tracking agent that records your trades, your reasoning, and the outcomes. This might sound boring compared to the data analysis and sentiment tracking, but it is arguably the most valuable part of the entire workflow. Most traders lose money not because they have bad strategies but because they do not learn from their mistakes. They repeat the same emotional decisions over and over, and they have no record of their thought process to analyze later. Your OpenClaw journaling agent automatically logs every trade you make, the market conditions at the time, the reasoning you entered when you placed the trade, and the eventual outcome. Over weeks and months, this creates a database of your own trading behavior that you can analyze for patterns. Are you consistently losing money on trades you make in the afternoon? Are your best trades the ones where you followed your back-tested strategy, and your worst trades the ones where you deviated from it? This kind of self-analysis is what separates traders who improve over time from traders who keep making the same mistakes. The money beyond your own portfolio. Here is something most people do not consider when they think about AI and trading. The biggest money in this space might not come from trading your own account. It might come from selling your analytical capabilities to other people. Think about it. If you have built a sophisticated market analysis workflow with OpenClaw, you have a tool that other traders would pay money for. And there are several ways to monetize that without risking your own capital in the markets. The first way is selling analysis reports and market briefings as a subscription service. You set up your OpenClaw agents to generate daily or weekly market analysis covering specific sectors, asset classes, or trading styles. You package that analysis into a professional newsletter or report and sell subscriptions for $20 to $50 per month. If you build an audience of 200 subscribers at $30 per month, that is $6,000 in monthly recurring revenue and you are not risking a single dollar of your own money in the market. Your OpenClaw agents do the analysis, you review and refine the output to ensure quality, and the subscribers get intelligence that would cost them thousands of dollars a year from traditional research services. Platforms like Substack, Patreon, or even your own website make it easy to set up and manage a paid newsletter, and the content creation is almost entirely handled by your OpenClaw workflow with your human expertise layered on top for credibility and quality control. The second way is building and selling custom trading analysis tools. Remember the backtesting agent we talked about earlier? That is a tool other traders would pay for. A pre-configured OpenClaw setup that allows someone to backtest their strategies, monitor sentiment, and get automated market briefings is a premium digital product. You can sell it as a one-time purchase for $100 to $300, or as a monthly subscription that includes updates and support. This connects directly to the digital products model in Chapter 8, and it is one of the highest value products you can create because the target audience, active traders, is used to paying for tools and information that give them an edge. The third way is consulting and education. Once you have built real expertise in using AI for market analysis, you become a valuable resource for other traders who want to do the same thing but do not know where to start. You can offer one-on-one consulting sessions, create online courses, or run workshops that teach people how to set up their own OpenClaw trading workflows. The pricing for this type of service is substantial because the perceived value is high. A 2-hour consulting session where you walk a trader through setting up a custom analysis workflow can command $200 to $500, and a comprehensive online course can sell for $100 to $300 per enrollment with no limit on how many people can buy it. Risk management, the rules that keep you in the game. I am going to end this chapter with the most important section, and I need you to read it carefully even if you are excited about everything we just covered. Risk management is not the exciting part of trading. It is not the part that makes you feel like a genius. But it is the part that determines whether you are still trading 6 months from now or whether you have blown up your account and sworn off the markets forever. OpenClaw can enhance your analysis, but it cannot protect you from bad risk management. That is entirely on you. The first rule is to never trade with money you need. This is not a cliché. This is survival. The money you use for trading should be money that, if it disappeared tomorrow, would not affect your ability to pay rent, buy food, or cover your bills. If you are reading this book because you are broke and desperate, do not start with the trading chapter. Start with freelancing or the agency model, build up some savings, and come back to trading when you have capital you can afford to risk. Trading with scared money leads to emotional decisions, and emotional decisions lead to losses. There are no exceptions to this. The second rule is to start with paper trading. Every major brokerage platform offers a paper trading or simulated trading mode where you can execute trades with fake money in real market conditions. Use this mode for at least 30 days before you put a single real dollar at risk. This gives you time to learn how your OpenClaw analysis workflows perform in real time, how to interpret the data they generate, and how to make decisions based on AI-assisted analysis without the pressure of real money on the line. Most people skip paper trading because it feels pointless when there is no money involved. Those same people end up donating their real money to the market because they did not take the time to practice. Do not be that person. The third rule is to set hard limits on every trade and stick to them no matter what. Before you enter any position, decide the maximum amount you are willing to lose on that trade and set a stop loss at that level. A common guideline is to never risk more than 1 to 2% of your total trading capital on a single trade. That means if you have a $5,000 trading account, your maximum loss on any single trade should be $50 to $100. This feels small and limiting, and that is the point. Small losses keep you in the game. One catastrophic loss can end your trading career before it starts. OpenClaw can help you calculate position sizes and set appropriate stop-loss levels based on your backtesting data, which takes some of the guesswork out of this process. But the discipline to actually follow those limits has to come from you. Trading with OpenClaw is a powerful addition to your income toolkit, but it is a tool that demands respect, discipline, and honest self-assessment. Approach it with those qualities and it can genuinely enhance your financial life. Approach it with greed and impatience and it will take your money faster than any bad business decision ever could. Use the analytical power responsibly, start slow, and let the data guide you instead of your emotions. That is the edge. In the next chapter, we are shifting into a model that carries far less risk and has the potential to generate income while you sleep. Creating and selling digital products powered by OpenClaw. If the idea of building something once and getting paid for it over and over again sounds good to you, the next chapter is going to be your favorite in the entire book. Chapter 8, Creating and Selling Digital Products Powered by OpenClaw. Assets outlive effort. Every business model we have covered so far has one thing in common. They all require you to show up. Freelancing requires you to do client work. The agency requires you to maintain systems and manage relationships. Website building requires you to scope projects, build them, and deliver them. Trading requires you to analyze data and make decisions. All of those models can make you excellent money, and I stand behind every single one of them. But there is a different level to this game, and that level is reached when you create something once and it keeps paying you without requiring your direct involvement every time money changes hands. That is what digital products do. They are assets. You invest your time up front to create them, you put them in front of the right audience, and they generate revenue on their own, day after day, week after week, month after month. You could be asleep. You could be on vacation. You could be working on your agency or your freelance clients. It does not matter. The products are out there selling themselves while you live your life. Now, let me ground this in reality before your imagination runs too far ahead. Digital products are not a magic money printer. They require real effort to create, real thought to position correctly, and real marketing to get in front of buyers. The passive income label that gets thrown around online is misleading because it implies you do nothing and money appears. The truth is closer to this: you do a lot of work up front, and then you do significantly less work on an ongoing basis to maintain and market the products while they generate income. It is not zero work. It is dramatically less work per dollar earned compared to trading your time directly for money. The difference between earning $500 from freelance work and earning $500 from digital product sales is that the freelance work required you to be present for every dollar. The digital product sales happen because of work you did weeks or months ago. That compounding effect on your time is the real power of this model, and when you combine it with OpenClaw's ability to accelerate the creation process, you have a formula that can generate serious income streams faster than most people think is possible. This chapter is going to show you exactly how to identify digital products that people actually want to buy, how to use OpenClaw to create those products at a speed that would be impossible manually, where to sell them for maximum visibility and revenue, and how to build a product catalog that grows your income over time. If you have been waiting for the chapter that lets you build something with lasting value, this is it. Let us get to work. What sells? Identifying digital products people actually pay for. The graveyard of failed digital products is filled with things that were interesting to create but that nobody wanted to buy. The number one reason digital products fail is not poor quality. It is poor market selection. The creator built something they thought was cool without ever checking whether a paying audience existed for it. We are not making that mistake. Before you create a single thing, you need to understand what types of digital products are selling right now and how to validate demand before you invest your time. The digital product landscape is broad, but for OpenClaw-powered creators, there are 5 categories that offer the best combination of demand, profitability, and creation speed. The first is templates and toolkits. These are ready-made resources that save the buyer time and effort. Think business proposal templates, social media content calendars, email marketing sequences, project management frameworks, financial tracking spreadsheets, and client onboarding checklists. Businesses and professionals buy templates because creating these things from scratch takes hours, and a well-designed template lets them skip straight to execution. With OpenClaw, you can research what templates are in highest demand in any niche, generate the content and structure, and produce a polished product in a fraction of the time it would take to build manually. Templates typically sell for $9 to $49 each, and the best ones sell hundreds or even thousands of units because the target market is enormous. The second category is educational content. Guides, ebooks, mini-courses, and tutorial packages that teach people how to do something specific. This is where your OpenClaw expertise becomes a direct product. A comprehensive guide on how to automate your small business with AI, or the complete beginner's guide to AI-powered market analysis, is the kind of product that people are actively searching for right now. The AI space is exploding with interest, and the demand for practical, beginner-friendly education far outstrips the supply. You have been learning and using OpenClaw throughout this entire book, which means you already have the knowledge to create educational products that are genuinely valuable. OpenClaw accelerates the creation process by helping you research, outline, draft, and refine the content, but your real-world experience with the tool is what gives the product authenticity and credibility that AI-generated content alone cannot provide. The third category is prompt libraries and AI workflow blueprints. This is a newer product category that is growing rapidly as more people adopt AI tools. A prompt library is a curated collection of pre-written prompts designed for specific use cases, things like 50 prompts for writing high-converting sales emails, or 100 AI prompts for real estate agents. Workflow blueprints are step-by-step guides that show someone how to set up a specific AI automation, like an automated content pipeline or a lead qualification system. These products sell well because they save the buyer the trial and error of figuring things out on their own. They are also extremely fast to create with OpenClaw because the tool itself helps you generate, test, and refine the prompts and workflows. Pricing typically ranges from $19 to $79, and because the creation cost is almost zero, nearly every sale is pure profit. The fourth category is design assets and creative resources. Things like social media graphic templates, presentation decks, branding kits, and website design elements that incorporate AI-generated or AI-enhanced content. These products sell well on platforms like Etsy and Creative Market, and OpenClaw can assist in generating the content that populates these assets, writing the copy, creating the descriptions, and even helping design the marketing materials that sell them. The fifth category is software tools and micro-applications. This is the most technical category and requires some development knowledge, but if you have it or are willing to learn, small AI-powered tools can command premium prices. A simple web application that does one specific thing really well, like generating personalized email outreach sequences or analyzing a competitor's website, can sell for $49 to $199 and attract buyers who are willing to pay for functionality that saves them significant time. Validating demand before you create anything is critical, and it is simpler than most people make it. Go to the platforms where you plan to sell, Gumroad, Etsy, Amazon, Creative Market, and search for products similar to what you want to create. Look at how many reviews they have, what their ratings are, and what price they sell for. If you find existing products in your niche with dozens or hundreds of reviews, that is proof that demand exists. You are not looking for a niche with zero competition. Zero competition usually means zero demand. You are looking for a niche with proven demand where you can create a product that is better, more comprehensive, more up-to-date, or more specifically targeted than what is currently available. That is the sweet spot where new digital products thrive. Using OpenClaw to create products at ridiculous speed. Here is where your unfair advantage kicks into high gear. The traditional process of creating a digital product, whether it is a guide, a template pack, or a course, involves weeks or months of research, writing, designing, formatting, and refining. That timeline is what stops most people from ever finishing. They start with enthusiasm, hit the messy middle where progress feels slow, and quietly abandon the project. OpenClaw compresses that timeline dramatically, which means you can go from idea to finished product in days instead of weeks for most product types. Let me walk you through the creation process using a concrete example. Say you want to create a product called the Small Business AI Automation Starter Kit, which is a bundle that includes a guide explaining the top 10 automations every small business should set up, plus templates for each automation, plus a checklist for implementing them. Without OpenClaw, creating this product would involve researching which automations are most valuable, writing the guide content, creating each template, designing the checklist, formatting everything professionally, and proofreading the entire package. That is easily 40 to 60 hours of work for most people. With OpenClaw, here is how the process changes. You start by having your agent research the most in-demand small business automations by scanning current market data, blog posts, forum discussions, and product reviews. The agent compiles its findings into a structured summary that gives you a clear picture of what to include. That research phase that would normally take you 5 to 8 hours is done in under an hour. Next, you have the agent draft the guide content for each automation, following the structure and tone guidelines you provide. You review each section, add your personal insights and real-world experience, refine the language, and ensure accuracy. What would normally take 20 to 30 hours of writing now takes you 4 to 6 hours of reviewing and refining. Then you use OpenClaw to generate the template content for each automation and create the implementation checklists. Another 2 to 3 hours of work instead of 10 to 15. The total time from blank page to finished product goes from 50 plus hours to roughly 10 to 15 hours of actual work spread across a few days. That speed advantage is not just about saving time on one product. It is about the volume of products you can create over the course of a few months. If each product takes you 2 to 3 days of focused work instead of 3 to 4 weeks, you can build a catalog of 5, 10, or even 20 products in the same time it would take a traditional creator to finish 1 or 2. And in the digital product world, catalog size matters. Each product is a new entry point for customers to discover you. Each product generates its own stream of income. And each product cross-sells the others because a customer who buys one product from you and likes it is very likely to buy another. Building a catalog quickly is one of the most effective growth strategies in digital products, and OpenClaw makes it possible in a way that simply was not realistic before. Where to sell, platforms, positioning, and pricing for maximum revenue. Creating a great product is half the equation. The other half is putting it where buyers can find it and pricing it so that they feel confident clicking the purchase button. Let me walk you through the platforms that work best for each type of digital product and how to position yourself on each one. Gumroad is the simplest and most beginner-friendly platform for selling digital products. You create an account, upload your product, set a price, and you have a live sales page in under 10 minutes. Gumroad takes a small percentage of each sale, but it handles payment processing, file delivery, and even provides basic analytics. It is the perfect starting point for your first few products because there is zero friction to getting started. The limitation of Gumroad is that it does not have a massive built-in audience, so you need to drive your own traffic through marketing, which we will cover in Chapter 9. But for speed to market and simplicity, it is unmatched. Etsy is an excellent platform for templates, design assets, and creative resources. It has a built-in audience of millions of buyers who are actively searching for digital products, which means you can generate sales from Etsy's internal search without doing any external marketing. The key to success on Etsy is search optimization. Your product title, description, and tags need to include the exact phrases that your target buyers are typing into the search bar. If you are selling social media templates for real estate agents, your title should include those exact words, not a clever or creative name that nobody would search for. Etsy charges a small listing fee and takes a percentage of each sale, but the access to organic buyer traffic makes it worthwhile, especially for products in the template and design asset categories. Amazon is the platform to consider if you are creating ebooks, guides, or educational content. Amazon's Kindle Direct publishing platform lets you publish ebooks for free and reach Amazon's massive customer base. The royalty structure gives you up to 70% of the sale price on ebooks priced between $2.99 and $9.99, and the platform's recommendation algorithm can drive significant sales once your product starts getting reviews. If you have been following the strategies in this book and already have experience with Amazon from other products, you know how powerful the platform can be for discoverability. The combination of a well-optimized listing, competitive pricing, and early reviews can create a snowball effect that generates consistent daily sales with minimal ongoing effort from you. For pricing, here is the framework I recommend. Templates and toolkits should be priced between $9 and $49 depending on the comprehensiveness and the niche. A single template can sell for $9 to $19. A bundle of related templates should be priced at $29 to $49 because the perceived value of a bundle is always higher than individual items. Guides and ebooks work best in the $9 to $29 range for digital delivery, though you can charge more for comprehensive guides in specialized niches. Prompt libraries and workflow blueprints command $19 to $79 depending on the depth and the specificity of the use case. Courses and educational packages can range from $49 to $299. Depending on the format and depth. The general principle is to price based on the value the product delivers, not the time it took you to create it. A template that saves a business owner 10 hours of work is easily worth $29 to them, even if it took you 2 hours to create. That value gap is your profit margin, and it is enormous in the digital product space. Building a product catalog that compounds your income over time. The real power of digital products reveals itself over time, not in the first week of your first launch. One product generating $50 a month is nice but not life-changing. 10 products each generating $50 a month is $500 of mostly passive income. 20 products each generating $75 a month is $1,500. And those numbers only grow as each product accumulates more reviews, more visibility, and more organic traffic. The compounding effect of a growing catalog is what turns digital products from a side experiment into a serious income stream, and the strategy for building that catalog is simpler than you might think. Start with one product in one niche. Launch it, gather feedback, and optimize the listing based on what you learn. Then create a second product that is related to the first one. If your first product was a social media content calendar template, your second product might be a social media caption writing guide, and your third might be a bundle of Instagram post templates. Each product serves the same audience, which means every buyer of one product is a potential buyer of the others. This niche clustering strategy is far more effective than creating random products across unrelated categories because it builds your reputation as an authority in that niche and maximizes the cross-selling potential between products. After you have 3 to 5 products in your first niche and they are generating consistent sales, expand into a second niche using the same approach. Use OpenClaw to research which niches have the highest demand and lowest competition for digital products, create your first product in that new niche, and repeat the process. Over 3 to 6 months, you can realistically build a catalog of 15 to 25 products across 2 or 3 niches, and that catalog becomes an asset that generates income month after month with minimal maintenance. The only ongoing work is occasional updates to keep products current, responding to customer questions, and marketing efforts to drive new traffic. Compare that to the hourly grind of freelancing or the constant client management of an agency, and you can see why digital products are such an attractive addition to your income portfolio. One final piece of advice on digital products. Quality matters more than quantity. It is better to have 10 excellent products that get 5-star reviews and generate repeat customers than 50 mediocre products that get poor ratings and damage your brand. OpenClaw gives you the speed to create quickly, but you still need to apply your human judgment, your attention to detail, and your commitment to genuinely helping the buyer. Every product you put out has your name on it, and every 5-star review builds the reputation that makes the next product easier to sell. Never sacrifice quality for speed, and always ask yourself before you hit publish, would I feel good about buying this product at this price? If the answer is yes, ship it. If the answer is anything less than yes, go back and make it better. You now have 4 powerful business models working for you, and you have a digital product strategy that can generate income while you focus on your other ventures. But all the products and services in the world are worthless if nobody knows they exist. In the next chapter, we are tackling the challenge that kills more businesses than bad products ever will: marketing. How to get clients, how to get customers, and how to build a presence that attracts buyers to you instead of you having to chase them down. This is where everything comes together. Chapter 9, Marketing Your OpenClaw. Business, getting clients and customers fast. Visibility is the currency before money. You can have the best OpenClaw skills on the planet. You can build automations that save businesses thousands of dollars a month. You can create digital products that genuinely change how people work. You can offer freelance services that blow every competitor out of the water. None of it matters if nobody knows you exist. That is the brutal truth about business, and it is the truth that this chapter is designed to solve. Marketing is the bridge between having something valuable and actually getting paid for it, and it is the single biggest gap I see in people who are talented and hardworking but still struggling to make money. They build great things and then sit around wondering why nobody is buying. The answer is almost always the same: they never learned how to put their work in front of the right people at the right time with the right message. That is marketing, and it is not optional. It is the oxygen supply of your business. Cut it off, and everything dies no matter how good the product is. Here is the good news. Marketing an OpenClaw business is actually easier than marketing most other businesses, and I am going to explain why. You are operating in a space that is experiencing explosive growth in public attention and interest. AI is the hottest topic on the internet right now. People are searching for AI solutions, AI tools, AI services, and AI education every single day in record numbers. The demand already exists. You do not have to create demand from scratch the way you would if you were selling something nobody has heard of. Your job is to position yourself in front of that existing demand and make it clear that you are the person who can solve their problem. That is a fundamentally easier marketing challenge than trying to convince people they need something they have never thought about before. The wave is already moving. You just need to learn how to ride it. This chapter covers the marketing strategies that are working right now for AI businesses specifically. I am not going to waste your time with generic marketing advice that applies to every business under the sun. Everything here is tailored to the unique position you are in as someone selling OpenClaw-powered services and products. We are going to cover social media strategies that attract clients and customers without requiring you to become a full-time content creator. We are going to cover content marketing that builds authority and trust. We are going to cover direct outreach methods that land clients quickly. And we are going to cover paid advertising basics for when you are ready to pour fuel on the fire. By the end of this chapter, you will have a marketing playbook that works regardless of which business model you chose, and you will never again have the excuse of, "I just do not know how to get clients." Let us fix that permanently. Social media, building an audience that buys from you. Social media is the most accessible and cost-effective marketing channel available to you right now, and if you use it strategically, it can become your primary source of clients and customers without costing you a single dollar. The key word in that sentence is strategically. Most people use social media for their business the wrong way. They post randomly, they talk about themselves, they share content that nobody asked for, and they wonder why nobody is engaging or buying. Strategic social media marketing is different. It is about consistently showing up with content that demonstrates your expertise, solves small problems for your audience, and positions you as the obvious choice when someone needs the kind of help you offer. The platforms that matter most for an OpenClaw business right now are LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, and TikTok. Each one serves a different purpose, and you do not need to be on all of them to succeed. If you are selling services to businesses like freelancing, agency work, or website building, LinkedIn and Twitter should be your primary focus because that is where business owners, decision-makers, and professionals spend their time. If you are selling digital products or educational content to a broader audience, YouTube and TikTok are your best channels because they have massive reach and their algorithms are designed to surface content to people who are interested in your topic even if they have never heard of you before. The content strategy is the same regardless of which platform you choose. You create 3 types of content in rotation, and you post consistently. The first type is educational content that teaches your audience something useful about AI, automation, or making money with technology. This is the content that builds your authority and trust. A short post explaining how an OpenClaw automation saved a business 10 hours per week. A video showing a quick demonstration of something cool you built. A thread breaking down the 5 biggest mistakes people make when trying to start an AI business. This content positions you as someone who knows what they are talking about, and it attracts followers who are interested in exactly what you offer. The second type is proof-of-work content that shows the results you have achieved for clients or customers. Case studies, before and after breakdowns, client testimonials, screenshots of results, and revenue milestones all fall into this category. This content converts followers into buyers because it provides evidence that you can actually deliver what you promise. People are skeptical by nature, and they should be. The internet is full of people making big claims with nothing to back them up. When you consistently share real results, you stand out from the noise and build the kind of credibility that makes selling almost effortless. The third type is personal and relatable content that lets your audience connect with you as a human being, not just a service provider. Share your journey. Talk about the challenges you faced when you were starting out. Share a lesson you learned the hard way. Talk about a mistake you made and what it taught you. This content builds the emotional connection that turns casual followers into loyal fans who root for your success and want to support you by buying from you. People buy from people they like and trust, and personal content is the fastest way to build that likability and trust at scale. The posting frequency that works for most people without burning out is 3 to 5 times per week on your primary platform. You do not need to post every day. You do not need to go viral. You need to show up consistently with valuable content over weeks and months, and the compounding effect of that consistency will build an audience that generates leads and sales on autopilot. And here is where OpenClaw gives you another edge. You can use it to help generate content ideas, draft posts, research trending topics, and even repurpose longer content into shorter formats for different platforms. The tool that makes you money also helps you market the business that makes you money. Use it. Content marketing, the long game that pays forever. Social media is powerful for immediate visibility, but content marketing is the strategy that builds a foundation you can stand on for years. Content marketing means creating longer-form content like blog posts, articles, YouTube videos, and podcast episodes that live on the internet permanently and continue attracting new people to your business long after you publish them. A blog post you write today about how to automate customer support with AI can still be bringing you leads and customers 2 years from now if it ranks well on Google. A YouTube video demonstrating an OpenClaw workflow can generate views and subscribers for months or years after you upload it. That is the beauty of content marketing. It compounds over time in a way that social media posts, which have a lifespan of hours or days, simply cannot match. The foundation of your content marketing strategy should be a simple blog or website where you publish articles related to your niche. If you are running a freelance business or an agency, your articles should target the problems your ideal clients are experiencing. How small businesses can save 20 hours per week with AI automation. Why your lead follow-up process is costing you clients and how to fix it. The real cost of not using AI in your business in 2025. These articles serve 2 purposes. First, they attract organic search traffic from people who are Googling these exact problems, which means potential clients are finding you without you having to reach out to them. Second, they serve as credibility builders that you can share with prospects during the sales process. When a potential client visits your website and sees a library of thoughtful, helpful articles about the exact problems they are facing, their trust in you skyrockets before you have even spoken to them. If you are selling digital products, your content marketing strategy shifts slightly. Instead of targeting client problems, you target buyer education. Articles like, The Best AI Tools for Freelancers in 2025 or How to Build a Passive Income Stream with Digital Products attract the exact audience that is likely to buy your products. Within each article, you naturally reference your own products as solutions, not in a pushy sales way but in a "by the way, I created a tool that solves exactly this problem" way. This approach is called content-led selling, and it is one of the most effective digital product marketing strategies because the buyer feels like they discovered your product through their own research rather than being sold to. The key to content marketing success is consistency and search optimization. You do not need to publish every day. One well-researched, genuinely helpful article per week is enough to build a meaningful content library over a few months. Each article should be optimized for specific search terms that your target audience is actually typing into Google. OpenClaw can help you research which search terms have high volume and low competition, draft article outlines, and even produce first drafts that you then refine with your personal expertise and voice. Over the course of 6 months to a year, a consistent content marketing effort can become your most powerful and most cost-effective source of new business, and it is an asset that continues growing in value the more you invest in it. Direct outreach, the fastest path to your next client. Social media builds your audience over time. Content marketing compounds over months. But what if you need a client this week? That is where direct outreach comes in, and it is the marketing strategy that I recommend every new OpenClaw business owner starts with immediately because it produces the fastest results with the least amount of infrastructure. Direct outreach is exactly what it sounds like. You identify a business or individual who could benefit from your services, and you reach out to them directly with a personalized message that explains how you can help. The channels for this outreach are email, LinkedIn messages, and in some cases direct messages on other social platforms. The key to successful outreach is that your message is not about you. It is about them. Nobody cares that you have OpenClaw skills. Nobody cares that you can build AI automations. What they care about is their own problems, and your message needs to lead with a specific problem you have identified in their business and a clear explanation of how you can solve it. Let me give you a framework for writing outreach messages that actually get responses. The first sentence identifies who they are and something specific about their business that shows you did your research. I noticed your real estate agency just expanded to a second location. Congratulations on the growth. The second sentence identifies a problem or opportunity related to that observation. With 2 locations, I imagine keeping up with lead follow-up for both offices is getting harder, especially making sure no potential buyer falls through the cracks. The third section briefly explains what you can do about it. I build AI-powered follow-up systems that automatically contact every new lead within minutes, send personalized follow-up sequences, and flag the hottest prospects for your agents to call first. It runs 24 hours a day and costs a fraction of hiring another admin. The closing is a simple, low-pressure call to action. Would it be worth a 15-minute call this week to see if this could work for your team? That entire message is about them, their growth, their problem, their potential solution. You barely mentioned yourself. That is what good outreach looks like. The volume game is real with direct outreach. You are not going to send one message and land a client. Expect a response rate of 5 to 15% on well-crafted outreach messages, which means you need to send at least 20 to 30 messages per week to generate 2 to 4 conversations, which will typically convert into 1 or 2 clients per month. That math might feel discouraging at first, but think about what it means in practice. If you spend 4 to 5 hours per week on outreach and land 1 new client per month at $500 per month in recurring revenue, you have added $6,000 in annual recurring income from less than 20 hours of marketing effort. Do that consistently for 6 months and you have a $36,000 per year business built entirely on direct outreach. The numbers compound quickly when the revenue is recurring. OpenClaw can dramatically accelerate your outreach process. You can configure an agent to research potential clients, gather information about their business, identify the specific pain points you should reference in your message, and even draft personalized outreach messages that you then review and send. What would normally take you an hour of research and writing per prospect can be compressed to 15 or 20 minutes of reviewing and refining AI-generated drafts. That efficiency means you can reach more prospects per week without spending more time, which directly increases your client acquisition rate. Paid advertising, fuel on the fire when you are ready. I saved paid advertising for last because it should be the last marketing channel you add, not the first. Paid ads are powerful, but they are also the fastest way to waste money if you do not already have a proven offer and a clear understanding of who your customer is. The strategies we covered above, social media, content marketing, and direct outreach, are free and help you refine your messaging, understand your audience, and validate your offer. Once you have those foundations in place, paid advertising becomes a multiplier that can scale your results dramatically. The 2 paid advertising platforms most relevant to an OpenClaw business are Facebook/Instagram ads and Google ads. Facebook and Instagram ads are best for selling digital products and reaching a broad audience of people interested in AI, automation, and making money online. You create an ad that highlights the benefit of your product, target it to people who have shown interest in related topics, and drive them to your product page or a landing page where they can learn more and buy. The cost per click for ads in the AI and business niche typically ranges from 50 cents to $2, which means you can test an ad campaign for as little as $5 to $10 per day and see results within a week. Google ads work differently and are better suited for service-based businesses. Instead of targeting people based on interests, you target people based on what they are actively searching for. If someone types AI automation for small business into Google, your ad can appear at the top of the results and drive them to your website. The intent behind a Google search is much higher than the intent behind a social media scroll, which means Google ads typically convert at a higher rate but cost more per click. For service businesses, Google ads can be extremely profitable because the lifetime value of a single client often runs into thousands of dollars, which justifies a higher customer acquisition cost. The golden rule of paid advertising is this: never spend money on ads until you have made money without ads. If your offer converts through free marketing channels like organic social media, content marketing, and direct outreach, it will convert even better with paid traffic. If your offer does not convert through free channels, throwing money at ads will not fix the problem. It will just help you lose money faster. Use free channels first to prove the offer, refine the messaging, and understand what resonates with your audience. Then turn on paid ads to amplify what is already working. Marketing is not a one-time activity. It is an ongoing practice that runs alongside every other part of your business. The businesses that grow are the ones that market consistently, not the ones that do a burst of marketing and then stop when things get busy. Set aside time every single week for marketing activities, even when you have plenty of clients and customers, because the pipeline you build today is the revenue you collect 3 months from now. In the next chapter, we are going to take everything you have built across this entire book and talk about the big picture. Scaling. How to go from a side hustle to a 6-figure business. How to raise prices, hire help, stack income streams, and build systems that let your business grow without you burning out. This is the chapter that ties it all together. Chapter 10, Scaling to Serious Income, from Side Hustle to 6 Figures. Small thinking is expensive. Everything you have built up to this point has been preparation for what we are about to discuss. You have learned the tool. You have set it up for business. You have chosen your business model, maybe even stacked 2 or 3 of them together. You have landed clients, created products, generated revenue, and started building something real. If you have followed the strategies in this book with any level of consistency, you are already making money with OpenClaw. Maybe it is a few $100s a month. Maybe it is 1,000. Maybe you have surprised yourself and pushed past 2 or 3,000. Whatever the number is, I want you to take a second to recognize that you did something most people never do. You took an idea, turned it into action, and created income from it. That alone puts you ahead of the overwhelming majority of people who buy business books and never execute a single page. Be proud of that. And then immediately stop being comfortable with it, because this chapter is about going further. Much further. The difference between someone who makes a nice side income and someone who builds a 6-figure business is not talent. It is not luck. It is not having some secret advantage that other people do not have access to. The difference is that the 6-figure builder thinks about scale from the beginning and makes decisions that compound over time instead of decisions that just solve today's problem. Every choice you make in your business either moves you towards scale or keeps you stuck at your current level, and most people do not realize which choices are which until it is too late. This chapter is going to make those choices obvious. We are going to cover when and how to raise your prices without losing clients. We are going to talk about hiring and delegating so that your business grows without your workload growing at the same pace. We are going to break down how to stack the income streams from this book into a portfolio that generates serious money from multiple directions. And we are going to talk about the systems and habits that keep you scaling sustainably instead of burning out 3 months in. This is the chapter where your side hustle becomes a real business. Let us build it right. Raising your prices, the fastest way to make more without doing more. The single fastest way to increase your income without increasing your workload is to charge more for the same work. That sounds obvious, and yet it is the thing that most people resist the hardest. There is a deep psychological discomfort that comes with raising your prices, especially when you are newer to business. You worry that clients will leave. You worry that nobody will pay the higher rate. You worry that you are not worth the new price yet. Let me address all 3 of those fears head on, because they are the biggest obstacles standing between you and the income you are capable of earning. First, some clients will leave when you raise your prices. That is not a disaster. That is a filter. The clients who leave because of a 20 or 30% price increase are almost always the clients who were the most difficult to work with, the most demanding about small details, and the least appreciative of the value you deliver. They were buying on price, not on value, and those are the worst clients to build a business around. The clients who stay after a price increase are the ones who genuinely value what you do, and they will continue to be great clients at the higher rate. In almost every case I have seen, people who raise their prices lose their worst clients and keep their best ones, and their business immediately becomes more profitable and more enjoyable at the same time. Second, new clients will absolutely pay higher rates if you have the portfolio and the proof to justify them. After 3 to 6 months of delivering great work, you have testimonials, case studies, results, and a reputation that did not exist when you started. Your pricing should reflect that growth. If you are still charging the same rates you charged when you had zero experience and zero proof, you are massively undervaluing yourself and leaving money on the table every single month. A freelancer who charged $75 per blog post when they started should be charging $125 to $150 after 3 months of consistent delivery and strong reviews. An agency that charged $500 per month per client should be looking at $750 to $1,000 as their standard rate once they have case studies showing real results. The proof justifies the price, and by this point in your journey, you have the proof. Third, and this is the most important mindset shift in this entire section, your price is not based on how you feel about yourself. It is based on the value you deliver to the client. If your automation saves a business 20 hours per month, that is worth thousands of dollars to them regardless of whether you spent 2 hours or 20 hours building it. If your content generates leads that turn into paying customers for your client, the value of that content is measured by the revenue it creates, not by how long it took you to write it. When you internalize this, pricing becomes a math problem instead of an emotional one. What is the result worth to the client? Price at a fraction of that value, and both sides win. You make more money, and the client still gets a massive return on their investment. That is how premium businesses operate, and that is how you should be thinking from this point forward. Hiring and delegating, getting free without losing quality. There is a ceiling on every business that relies entirely on one person, and that ceiling is the number of hours in that person's day. You can raise your prices, you can optimize your processes, you can use OpenClaw to work faster, but eventually you will hit a point where you physically cannot take on more work without dropping quality or sacrificing your health. That is the moment when hiring and delegating becomes not just a nice idea but an absolute necessity for continued growth. The good news is that building a team for an OpenClaw business does not look like traditional hiring. You do not need an office. You do not need full-time employees. You do not need a massive payroll. What you need is 1 or 2 reliable people who can handle the work that does not require your personal expertise, so that your time is freed up for the work that only you can do. The first person you should bring into your business is a virtual assistant who handles administrative and operational tasks. Client communication, scheduling, invoicing, basic reporting, social media scheduling, and inbox management are all tasks that eat up hours of your week but do not require your specific skills or knowledge. A good virtual assistant can take over all of these responsibilities for $10 to $20 per hour depending on their location and experience, and the time you get back can be redirected toward sales, strategy, and high-value client work that directly generates revenue. The math on this is straightforward. If you spend 10 hours per week on administrative tasks and you hire a virtual assistant at $15 per hour, that costs you $600 per month. If you use those reclaimed 10 hours per week to land one additional agency client at $500 per month, you have already more than covered the cost of the hire in the first month, and every month after that is pure net gain. The second hire, when you are ready, is a junior technician or contractor who can handle the routine delivery work in your business. For a freelancing operation, this might be someone who does the initial OpenClaw output review and basic editing before you do the final quality check. For an agency, this might be someone who monitors client systems, handles basic troubleshooting, and compiles monthly reports. For a website business, this might be someone who handles the basic site setup and design work while you focus on the AI integration and client strategy. The key is that you are not delegating your core expertise. You are delegating the repeatable, process-driven tasks that surround your core expertise so that you can focus on the work that actually moves the needle. The secret to successful delegation is documentation. Before you hand any task to another person, you need to have a clear, step-by-step process documented for how that task should be done. This is not optional. Without documentation, you will spend more time answering questions and fixing mistakes than you would have spent doing the task yourself. With documentation, a new team member can follow the process independently within days, and you only need to step in for exceptions and quality checks. Remember the systems we talked about in the agency chapter? This is where that investment pays off exponentially. Every process you documented, every template you created, every checklist you built becomes a training manual for the people you bring into your business. The time you spent systematizing was never just about efficiency for you. It was about building a business that can operate without you being the bottleneck for every single task. Stacking income streams, the portfolio approach to 6 figures. One income stream can make you comfortable. Multiple income streams can make you wealthy. This is not about chasing every opportunity or spreading yourself so thin that nothing gets done well. It is about strategically layering complementary income sources so that your total revenue grows while your risk decreases. If one stream has a slow month, the others pick up the slack. If one stream dries up entirely, you are not starting from zero because the other streams are still flowing. That is financial resilience, and it is what separates people who build lasting wealth from people who are always one bad month away from crisis. The most effective way to stack income streams with an OpenClaw business is to follow a deliberate progression that builds on itself. You start with freelancing because it generates revenue quickly and teaches you the fundamental skills of finding clients and delivering value. Once you have a stable freelance income, you layer on the agency model by converting your best freelance clients into recurring revenue relationships and adding new agency clients through the outreach and marketing strategies from Chapter 9. At the same time, you begin creating digital products that leverage the expertise you have developed. The guides, templates, and tools you create are informed by the real problems you have solved for real clients, which makes them genuinely valuable to buyers. And if trading and market analysis interest you, you add that as a fourth layer using the responsible approach we covered in Chapter 7. Let me paint you a picture of what a fully stacked OpenClaw business looks like at the 6-figure level. You have 3 to 4 ongoing freelance clients generating $1,500 to $2,000 per month. You have 5 to 7 agency clients on monthly retainers generating $3,000 to $5,000 per month. You have a catalog of 10 to 15 digital products generating $1,000 to $2,000 per month in semi-passive income. And you might have a trading analysis newsletter or consulting service generating $500 to $1,000 per month. The total is somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000 per month, which puts you at $72,000 to $120,000 per year. And here is the part that matters most, because you have hired help, built systems, and automated the repetitive work with OpenClaw, you are not working 80 hours a week to maintain this. You are working 30 to 40 hours a week, focused on the high-value activities that keep the business growing while your team and your systems handle the rest. That is not a fantasy. That is a realistic 12-month outcome for someone who follows the strategies in this book with discipline and consistency. It does not happen in 30 days. The 30-day window is for getting your first income stream up and running and proving to yourself that this works. The 6-figure level is a 6 to 12-month build that requires patience, persistence, and the willingness to keep showing up even on the days when progress feels slow. But every single piece of this puzzle is laid out for you in the chapters you have already read. The only variable is your execution. Avoiding burnout and building for the long game. I want to end this chapter with something that most business books ignore because it is not exciting or glamorous. Burnout. It is real, it is common, and it has destroyed more promising businesses than bad marketing or bad products ever have. The early stages of building a business are fueled by excitement and adrenaline. Everything is new, every small win feels huge, and you are willing to work long hours because the momentum feels incredible. But that intensity is not sustainable, and if you do not proactively manage your energy and your boundaries, you will hit a wall. Not a gentle slowdown. A wall. The kind where you wake up one morning and you cannot force yourself to open your laptop because the thought of doing one more task makes you physically exhausted. I have seen it happen to people who are on track for incredible results, and it is always preventable if you build the right habits from the beginning. The first habit is setting clear work boundaries and actually honoring them. Decide what hours you work and what hours you do not work, and treat those boundaries as seriously as you would treat a client deadline. Your business will always have more to do. There will always be one more email to send, one more product to create, one more client to reach out to. If you let the work expand to fill every waking hour, it will, and it will consume you in the process. Protect your rest time the same way you protect your work time, because rest is not the opposite of productivity. It is the foundation of sustained productivity. The people who build six-figure businesses and maintain them for years are not the ones who worked the hardest for 3 months and then collapsed. They are the ones who worked consistently at a sustainable pace for 12 months and beyond. The second habit is celebrating milestones and acknowledging your progress. When you land your first client, recognize that accomplishment. When you hit your first $1,000 month, take a moment to appreciate how far you have come from the person who had never even installed OpenClaw. When you launch your first digital product, feel good about the fact that you created something from nothing and put it out into the world. These moments of recognition are not indulgent. They are fuel. They remind you why you started, they reinforce the belief that what you are doing works, and they give you the emotional energy to keep pushing when things get challenging. Most people are so focused on the next goal that they never appreciate the goals they have already reached, and that relentless forward focus without any acknowledgement of progress is a fast track to feeling like nothing you do is ever enough. The third habit is regularly stepping back to evaluate whether your business is serving your life or whether your life is serving your business. You started this journey because you wanted more freedom, more income, more control over your time. If your business has grown to a point where you have less freedom than you did at your old job, something needs to change. Maybe you need to hire faster. Maybe you need to drop a client who is consuming too much of your energy. Maybe you need to raise your prices so you can work fewer hours for the same income. Maybe you need to take a week off and come back with fresh perspective. Whatever the adjustment is, make it before resentment builds, because resentment is the silent killer of businesses that otherwise have everything going for them. You have everything you need. The knowledge, the tools, the strategies, and the roadmap are all in your hands. The next chapter is your conclusion, and it is not a summary. It is your 30-day action plan. A day-by-day, week-by-week execution guide that takes everything in this book and turns it into a clear sequence of actions you can start tomorrow morning. No more learning. No more planning. Just doing. Let us close this out the right way. Conclusion, your 30-day OpenClaw money-making action plan. Execution eats intention alive. You have read the entire book. You understand what OpenClaw is and why it matters for your financial future. You know how to set it up. You know the 5 business models that work. You have detailed playbooks for freelancing, building an agency, creating websites, trading and market analysis, and selling digital products. You know how to market your business and how to scale it towards 6 figures. That puts you in a position that most people will never reach, because most people close a book like this and never take a single action on what they learned. They feel inspired for a day or two, life gets busy, and the book collects dust on a shelf or disappears into the forgotten depths of their Kindle library. That is not going to be you, and the reason it is not going to be you is because this conclusion does not let you off the hook. There is no gentle, good luck out there, ending here. What follows is a specific, day-by-day, week-by-week action plan that tells you exactly what to do for the next 30 days to turn everything you have learned into real income. This plan is designed for someone starting from zero. If you already have OpenClaw installed, if you have already landed a client or two, if you are further along than day 1, then adjust accordingly and skip ahead to wherever you are in the process. But if you are starting fresh, this is your roadmap. Follow it step by step, do not skip days, do not rearrange the order, and do not spend time overthinking whether you are doing it right. The plan is built in a specific sequence because each action creates the foundation for the next one. Trust the process, execute daily, and by day 30 you will have a functioning business that is generating revenue or is on the immediate doorstep of doing so. That is not a motivational promise. That is a practical outcome based on the strategies you have already learned. The knowledge is done. The planning is done. Now we work. Week 1, Foundation and Launch, days 1 through 7. Week 1 is about getting operational. No theorizing, no extra research, no, let me watch a few more YouTube videos first. By the end of this week, you will have OpenClaw installed, configured, and ready for business, and you will have your first public presence as someone who offers AI-powered services. Day 1 is Installation Day. Go back to Chapter 2 and follow the fast-track installation process. Get OpenClaw running on your local machine. Install Docker, pull the OpenClaw package, and verify that the interface loads in your browser. This should take you 1 to 2 hours at most. If you run into any issues, the OpenClaw Bible has a complete troubleshooting section that covers every common installation problem across all operating systems. Do not let a technical hiccup on day 1 derail your entire 30 days. Solve it, move on, and get the platform running before you go to bed tonight. Day 2 is Configuration Day. Connect your AI model by setting up an API key with your chosen provider. Most providers offer free credits for new accounts, so this should cost you nothing. Set up your first agent profile based on the business model you chose in Chapter 3. If you chose freelancing, configure a writing agent or a research agent. If you chose the agency path, configure an automation-focused agent. Spend time getting comfortable with the interface by running a few test tasks. Ask your agent to write a sample blog post, generate a research summary, or complete whatever type of task aligns with your chosen business model. The goal is not perfection. The goal is familiarity. By the end of day 2, you should feel comfortable giving OpenClaw tasks and reviewing the output. Day 3 is Platform Setup Day. If you chose freelancing as your starting model, which is what I recommend for most readers, create your profiles on Upwork and Fiverr today. Write your profile bio using the positioning strategies from Chapter 4. Focus on the specific services you plan to offer, not a generic, I can do anything, description. Set up 2 to 3 service listings on Fiverr and make sure your Upwork profile is complete with a professional photo, a compelling overview, and your relevant skills selected. If you chose a different business model as your starting point, adjust this day accordingly. Agency builders should start identifying their target niche and building a list of potential clients. Website builders should set up their portfolio site. Digital product creators should start researching their first product using the validation methods from Chapter 8. Day 4 is your first outreach day. If you are freelancing, send your first 10 proposals on Upwork. Follow the proposal framework from Chapter 4. Each proposal should be personalized to the specific job posting, lead with how you will solve the client's problem, and briefly mention your AI-powered approach as a differentiator. 10 proposals in one day might feel like a lot if you have never done this before, but each one should take you 10 to 15 minutes once you get into a rhythm. If you are going the agency or direct service route, send your first 5 outreach messages to potential clients using the framework from Chapter 9. The goal today is not to land a client. The goal is to start the conversation. Every proposal and every outreach message is a seed planted, and some of those seeds are going to grow into paying relationships. Day 5 through 7 is about maintaining momentum and creating your first piece of marketing content. Continue sending proposals or outreach messages daily. Aim for 5 to 10 per day, every day, for the rest of the month. Consistency here is non-negotiable. On one of these 3 days, create and publish your first piece of social media content about your OpenClaw journey. It does not need to be polished or perfect. Share what you are building, what you have learned, or a quick demonstration of something you did with OpenClaw. Post it on LinkedIn, Twitter, or whichever platform aligns with your target audience. This is the beginning of your public presence, and it starts now, not when you feel ready. You will never feel ready. Post it anyway. By the end of week 1, you should have OpenClaw installed and configured, your freelancing profiles or business presence set up, at least 20 to 30 proposals or outreach messages sent, and your first piece of content published. That is more than 95% of people who buy a business book ever accomplish. You are already ahead. Week 2, First Revenue and Refinement, days 8 through 14. Week 2 is where the seeds you planted start to show signs of life. Some of your proposals will get responses. Some of those responses will lead to conversations. And if you keep up the volume and the quality, at least one of those conversations should convert into your first paying project by the end of this week or early in week 3. Days 8 through 10 should follow a daily rhythm that you maintain for the rest of the month. Spend the first hour of your work session on outreach, sending new proposals, following up on conversations, and responding to any messages from potential clients. Speed matters here. When a potential client responds to your proposal, reply within a few hours, not a few days. The freelancer who responds fastest almost always wins the job over the one who takes 2 days to reply. After your outreach session, spend time refining your OpenClaw workflows. Run practice tasks that simulate real client work. If you are offering blog writing, write 3 sample posts and evaluate the quality. If you are offering research services, produce 2 sample reports and see how they look. This practice serves 2 purposes: it makes you faster and better at delivering real client work, and it gives you portfolio samples you can share with prospects who ask to see examples of your work. Days 11 through 14 are about landing and delivering your first project. When your first client says yes, do not panic and do not overthink it. Review the project requirements carefully, ask any clarifying questions before you start, set a realistic delivery timeline that you know you can beat, and then execute using your OpenClaw workflow. Deliver the work early if possible. Include a brief note with your delivery that highlights what you did and invites feedback. After the client reviews and approves the work, politely ask them if they would be willing to leave a review on the platform. That first review is worth its weight in gold because it breaks the 0 reviews barrier that makes landing the second and third clients so much easier. During this week, continue publishing social media content 2 to 3 times. Share your progress. Talk about landing your first client without revealing their identity. Share a lesson you learned. Show a behind-the-scenes look at how you used OpenClaw to deliver a project. This content is building your authority and attracting future clients to your profile even while you are focused on delivery. Week 3, Building Momentum and Expanding, days 15 through 21. By week 3, you should have completed at least 1 or 2 paid projects and have several more in your pipeline. The initial fear and uncertainty of the first 2 weeks should be fading, replaced by a growing confidence that this actually works. This is the week where you start building momentum and thinking beyond the next single project. Your daily outreach continues without exception. By now you should be getting more efficient at writing proposals and outreach messages, and your response rate should be improving as your profile gains reviews and your messaging gets sharper based on what you have learned works. Aim to increase your volume slightly this week, pushing toward 10 to 15 proposals or outreach messages per day if your schedule allows. The more conversations you have in your pipeline, the less any single no affects you emotionally, and the faster your client roster grows. This is also the week to start thinking about your second income stream. If you have been freelancing successfully, start identifying which of your clients could be converted into a recurring relationship using the agency model from Chapter 5. Are there tasks you are doing repeatedly for a client that could be automated and offered as a monthly service? Are there problems the client mentioned in passing that you could solve with an ongoing automation? Start planting those seeds in your client conversations. You do not need to make the full pitch yet. Just start asking questions like, have you ever thought about automating this part of your process, and gauge their interest. These conversations will naturally evolve into agency proposals in the coming weeks. If digital products are part of your plan, use some of your time this week to start creating your first product. Based on the work you have done for clients and the problems you have seen in your niche, you should have a clear idea of what product would be valuable to a wider audience. Start the creation process using the workflow from Chapter 8. Even if you only get the outline and the first section done this week, you are making progress on an asset that will generate income long after you finish creating it. Week 4, Optimization and the Road Ahead, days 22nd through 30. The final week of your 30-day plan is about optimization, reflection, and setting yourself up for the months ahead. By now, you should have completed multiple paid projects, have a growing pipeline of prospects, at least a few solid reviews on your freelancing profiles, and the beginnings of a social media presence and possibly a second income stream taking shape. Days 22 through 25 are about analyzing what is working and what is not. Look at your proposal-to-response ratio on Upwork. Which proposals got responses and which were ignored? What do the successful ones have in common? Refine your approach based on the data. Look at your pricing. Are clients accepting your rates without hesitation? If so, you might be priced too low. Test a higher price on your next few proposals and see what happens. Review your OpenClaw workflows. Are there tasks that are taking longer than they should? Are there steps you could automate or streamline? Every small efficiency gain compounds over time, and the optimizations you make now will pay dividends for months. Days 26 through 28 are about planning your next 60 and 90 days. You have proven the model works. You have income coming in. Now it is time to think bigger. Set specific goals for the next 30 days. How many clients do you want to have? What revenue target are you aiming for? What is the next income stream you want to add? Write these goals down. Put numbers on them. Make them specific enough that at the end of the next 30 days, you can clearly say whether you hit them or not. Vague goals produce vague results. Specific goals produce specific results. Days 29 and 30 are about getting your systems in order for sustained growth. Document any processes you have developed over the past month. Create templates for the types of work you do most frequently. Organize your client files and communications. Set up a simple tracking system for your income, your expenses, your proposals sent, and your conversion rate. These operational foundations might not feel exciting, but they are exactly what separates a business that grows from a business that stays chaotic and eventually collapses under its own disorganization. Treat your business like a business from day 30 forward, and it will reward you like one. The road from here. 30 days ago, you opened this book. Today, you have a business. Maybe it is small. Maybe it is just getting started. Maybe the revenue is modest. But it exists. It is real. It is generating income or is positioned to generate income any day now. And it is built on a foundation that can scale as far as your ambition and discipline will take it. Everything you need for the next stage of growth is already in this book. Go back to Chapter 5 when you are ready to build your agency. Go back to Chapter 8 when you are ready to launch your first digital product. Go back to Chapter 10 when you are ready to hire your first team member and push towards 6 figures. The chapters are not one-time reads. They are reference guides you will return to again and again as your business evolves and your challenges change. If you want to go deeper on the technical side of OpenClaw, to understand every feature, every configuration option, every advanced capability that the platform offers, pick up a copy of the OpenClaw Bible. It is the companion to this book, and it will give you the technical mastery to build increasingly sophisticated solutions for your clients and your own businesses. The more you understand the tool, the more valuable your services become, and the more you can charge for them. The two books together give you both the business strategy and the technical depth to become genuinely dangerous in this space. And one last thing. If this book helped you, if it gave you a plan, if it pushed you to take action, if it made you money, please leave a review. I am serious about this. A review takes you 2 minutes and it helps other people in your exact situation find this book and change their financial future the same way you are changing yours. Every review matters. Every review helps. And every review tells me that the work I put into writing this was worth it, which motivates me to keep creating resources that help people like you build something real. You have the tool. You have the knowledge. You have the plan. The only thing standing between you and the income you want is the decision to start and the discipline to keep going. Make that decision right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when the timing feels perfect. Right now. Open your laptop, follow day 1 of the plan, and do not stop until you have built something that changes your life. You deserve it. Now go earn it. You've reached the end of the book. If it gave you a useful perspective, a practical insight, or a framework you'll carry forward, I'd appreciate an honest review. Reviews help future readers decide whether this book is right for them. A short review is more than enough. Scan the QR code below to leave a review. Thank you for reading, Patrick Andrei.